Be closer in the NFC Central Division. The fading Detroit Lions with Minnesota and Tampa Bay right behind. The Buccaneers now 4-5-1 after a loss last week to the champion Pittsburgh Steelers. Yet they passed for more than 300 yards in the game. Number 12, Doug Williams, hitting here a 26-yard score to an outstanding rookie receiver, Kevin House. And despite the loss, a good performance. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings are now all even at 5-5, having won their last 2 in a row. A week ago against the Detroit Lions, Tommy Kramer back in action after missing a week with injury, connecting here with Ted Brown, who had his best day as a Viking, catching 9 passes, rushing for 50 yards. Here he goes, 67 for the score as Minnesota whips the fading Lions 34-0. Today, the NFL on CBS presents the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Minnesota Vikings. Bloomington, Minnesota. Hello, everyone. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris here on a brilliant sunshiny afternoon, and certainly very pleasant weather for a key matchup, and that Vikings defense has really come along.
Oh, they really have, Tim. They have allowed an average of only 10 points the last 5 games, and I think they culminated it with a great performance against the Lions last week. They had a big interception. They had 8 sacks. They forced 3 fumbles. They did everything to the Lions and won easily, as you know. Here's Gary Danielson under pressure from Matt Blair. This pressure caused an interception. Kurtnoff took it and went 67 yards for a touchdown. The Vikings have really arrived. The swarming front four has come along. It makes you kind of think of the Purple People Eaters of a few years ago.
Sure does. Mullaney, White, Sutherland, and Holloway, and all of a sudden, the old defensive days of the Vikings seem to have returned. On the other hand, they're facing a man who passed for 300 yards last week in Doug Williams.
Yes, Doug Williams did a good job. Tampa Bay actually should have won that game. Some key mistakes, as you know, cost the game, and they lost to the Steelers. If they got a big break here, it is really a beautiful day, nice and warm. And, of course, they always worry when they come from that warm Tampa Bay weather up here to this freezing Minnesota weather. I want to tell you, it is nice, sunny, probably, what, 50 degrees, something like that?
I'd say so. It's going to be perfect. Let's go down to the field. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be kicking off. The Vikings to our left in purple. The Bucks to our right in white. It's taken by Eddie Payton at the goal line, number 31. It's a good return, still going. The 35, the 40. Payton finally pulled down at the 44-yard line by Curtis Jordan. And so the Vikings start with excellent field position.
I think this might be an indication of a great football game. Eddie Payton hasn't really broken any for Minnesota, but he gets into the front four there, then busts a couple of tackles. And if it hadn't been for Curtis Jordan, he would have gone all the way. Eddie Payton, brother of Walter Payton.
42-yard return for Eddie Payton. It is 44 degrees at kickoff time, and almost like Tampa Bay. The Bucs should feel right at home here this afternoon. Very unusually warm weather for Minnesota this time of year. And so the Vikings start first and 10. In motion is Sammy White. Kramer, the quarterback, quickly to Sammy White. Behind the screen, the Bucs shut it down very effectively. A gain of 2 at the most. And we'll take a look at that offensive line of the Vikings. Steve Riley and Ron Yary coming off the injured foot. Jim Huff back in action. Wes Hamilton at guards. Dennis Swilley at center. The running backs are Ricky Young and Ted Brown, 34 and 23. Rashad and White with Bob Tucker at tight end. And there is Joe Sensor coming in now. On second down is the tight end replacing Tucker. Joe Sensor, Bob Tucker, and Bob Brewer all get a lot of action at tight end for the Vikings. It is 2nd and 8 after a gain of 2 on the short pass to White. Rashad split left, Sammy White right. Kramer wants to throw. Up the middle and get it out of the hand of Rashad. You will not see Rashad drop one like that too often. He would have been close to first down yardage had he held on.
The Vikings are coming right out to the air. First 2 plays are passes as Tommy Kramer, who had an excellent game last week. There had been some doubt as to who was going to start last week. Bud Grant didn't tell anybody. Finally, he went with Kramer over Dills. Turned out to be an excellent decision. Kramer had a great game against the Lions, and he's out throwing the ball already today.
3 wide receivers for the Vikings on 3rd down and 8. Terry LeCount, number 80, is in. Ricky Young is out. Kramer complete to Sensor, has the first down. Joe Sensor from Westchester State, first-year man on injured reserve a year ago, and he has a big first down play as Payton's longest return of the season, 42 yards, got them in position, and they are now in Bucs territory. Here's the defense. Kohler and Leroy Selman. David Logan for the injured Randy Crowder. Lewis, Selman, Wood, and Johnson are the linebackers. Jordan and Washington on the corners. Cotney and Brown, a solid secondary for Tampa Bay. First down, Minnesota at the 44 of Tampa Bay. In motion, the tight end Tucker. Pitch to Ricky Young. Young is closed down after a gain of 3. Kohler was there, number 77, the big guy from Montana State. The loss of Randy Crowder, and then earlier in the season for 4 games, Cedric Brown really opened up the middle of the Tampa Bay defense. They had their problems, but David Logan, a second-year man from Pittsburgh, has improved as the season has gone on.
And there you look at the Rams-Patriots game, 7-7 in the second quarter. That's a big one, AFC against the NFC in that one.
Scott Brantley, number 52, a rookie linebacker, has come in to replace Dewey Selman in this passing situation. 2nd and 7. Sensor backs off the tight end, now comes in motion. Kramer, lots of time. Complete to Rashad. First down, Vikings at the 25-yard line of Tampa Bay. Brantley was there. So was Cedric Brown and Cecil Johnson. But in the traffic, Rashad makes the catch.
There's Mike Washington on the coverage, and notice there are 4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The pass was perfect, and Rashad had the hole as 4 white jerseys make the tackle, but not before they had another first down, and the Vikings are picking up where they left off last week.
Bob Tucker brings the play in. Sensor goes out. First down at the 26 where they spot the ball. You see the Falcons in front of the Saints now, 10-7. Vikings threatening on their opening drive here at home in Met Stadium. Ted Brown dancing, and a flag is down as Brown picked up 7 yards. Was stopped by Dave Logan, the nose tackle, ranging back. However, a flag is down. Also in on the tackle, Cecil Johnson. That catch by Rashad, by the way, his 56th straight game, making at least 1 reception as a Viking.
Holding number 67, offense, still first down.
Dick Jorgensen with the word that Dennis Swilley is guilty of holding. The umpire is John Keck, the head linesman Lagori Haggerty, line judge Dick Handick, back judge Roy Clymer, side judge Royal Cathcart, and field judge Dick Dolak. So it is first down and 20 for the Vikings. The ball spotted now at the 36-yard line of Tampa Bay. There is no score. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. Split left is White, right is Rashad. Intended for Ricky Young, incomplete.
And boy, was Ted Brown down the field, right down the middle of the field. He was wide open. There wasn't anybody within 10 yards of Ted Brown, but he chose the shorter back out, Ricky Young, that time. So we may see that play again. They brought both backs out, and one of them was wide open. Unfortunately for Minnesota, Kramer chose the wrong receiver.
Terry LeCount comes in as we see Ted Brown, who had quite a day last week in the win over Detroit. 50 yards of rushing, 140 yards of pass receptions. St. Louis in front of Dallas, 7-0. Otis Anderson going 51 yards for the score. 2nd and 20. Kramer, sideliner, open is White. Danny Reese forces him to the sideline, and then he's dropped there by Curtis Jordan, number 25, and he picked up about 9 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and 11.
They had 2 wide receivers to this side of the field, and you're going to see Rashad goes down the field and White goes to the outside short, and the timing was a little bit off on this one. By the time the ball got there, he had to stand there for quite a while and waited for the ball. Still, they were late coming up on the coverage. He stepped out of bounds right there. It'll be 3rd down for Minnesota.
Big play here for both teams. Scoreless tie. Minnesota's opening drive. 3rd down conversion necessary to keep it going. They need 11. 2 wide receivers out to the left. Terry LeCount out to the right. Short drop complete to Sammy White. He'll score. Touchdown. So the Vikings on 3rd and 11 come up with a touchdown pass. Kramer to Sammy White.
What a beautiful play that was. They had both wide receivers. You see White at the top. He just fires right away. Danny Reese here misses the tackle as Sammy White goes into the end zone. Just a straight arrow pattern, and he caught it on the fly. And that's the way to do it in the NFL now, is catch those receivers in stride, in stride.
in motion along the line of scrimmage on the point after try, and a whole flock of flags. 27-yard touchdown pass. Kramer to White. The Vikings going 57 yards in 8 plays for the opening touchdown of the game, and let's see what the infraction is on this play.
Encroachment. Defense will save this penalty for the kickoff.
All right, well described by Dick Jorgensen. The Bucks over the line of scrimmage early, so they'll kick it again, and then the penalty will be assessed against Tampa Bay on the ensuing kickoff. Rick Danmeyer for the point after. Holding is Steve Dills. And it is good. So the Minnesota Vikings, with 10:47 remaining in this first quarter, have taken the opening kickoff and gone all the way. They lead it 7-0.
Let's take a look at that. An isolated shot on Sammy White. Notice nobody obstructing him, and they didn't expect Kramer to throw the ball so quickly. Everybody was downfield waiting for the receivers, and the pass was there, and boom, boom, plenty of speed. Touchdown, Minnesota.
So the Vikings will kick it off. Gary Davis, the former Dolphin, awaiting it at the 5-yard line. Tony Davis and Danny Reese are the up men. Danmeyer will kick it off, number 7. 7-0 Minnesota lead. A flat kick. It's taken by one of the up men. That's the tight end, Tony Samuels. Samuels gets to the 26-yard line, and pretty good position to start from for Tampa Bay on the short kickoff. Fred McNeil made the stop. Here's the Bucks offensive line. Revis and Hanna at tackle. George Arno and Ray Snell, the rookie, for the injured Greg Roberts. Steve Wilson at center. Ricky Bell and Jerry Eckwood will be the running backs. Jones and Higgins, the wide receivers, and the outstanding tight end, number 88, Jimmy Giles. There is a Buccaneer down on that last play, and it appears to be Samuels who returned the kickoff. So we'll have a timeout here as Doug Williams organizes the Buccaneer offense, with Minnesota leading 7-0. First down, Tampa Bay from their own 27. Tony Samuels is up and all right over at the Buccaneers bench. Doug Williams, number 12, who passed for more than 300 yards last week against Pittsburgh, is at the controls. Tony Davis is starting for Brad Eckwood. This is Ricky Bell, number 42. He is shut down right at the line of scrimmage. Matt Flair, number 59, the man to get there with Mark Mullaney, the defensive end, number 77. No gain on the play. Eckwood, Johnny, evidently has been bothered with a muscle cramp in his calf. Tried in the warm-up to go, and obviously still bothered by it. Can play, but they have started with Tony Davis, a youngster they had cut earlier this season and then re-signed him. Now Gary Davis comes in, number 28. The Bucks have 3 Davises at running back, so bear with us. We've got Davises and Johnsons and double names in a number of categories in both teams. Williams to throw, lots of time, and incomplete, intended for Kevin House, who took quite a shot from Tommy Hannon, number 45. It is up and okay. The pass a little bit high, and a lot of zip as usual from Doug Williams. Defensively for the Vikings, Mullaney, White, the veteran Sutherland, and Randy Holloway across the front. Matt Flair, Scott Studwell, and Fred McNeil, the linebackers. Nate Wright is back over on his old left corner spot. Johnny Turner has moved to the right side in the last few weeks. Hannon and Knopf are the safeties. The New York Giants lead Green Bay 14-7 in the second period. We'll be watching that one for you as it affects these divisional standings. Third down. Complete to Gordon Jones, who made a great catch on a tough hit as the ball arrived, and I believe it's Kurt Knopf who was injured. He made the hit on him. What a catch.
He had the inside coverage, and Jones comes to the inside. The pass was up there. He concentrates on the ball, makes the grab, and Knopf really tipped him. He did a cartwheel, hung on to the ball. It's first down, Tampa Bay, and Knopf is injured. What a collision.
Kurt Knopf, the fifth-year man from Kansas, acquired last year on waivers from Houston and became a starter. He's a tough cookie, and he'll be back. In fact, it looks like he's saying, hey, I don't really have to come off, fellas. But the trainers are going to make him go out for at least one play.
Well, they're seeing if he can count to 10. If he skips a number, he's in trouble.
Keith Nord has come in to replace him. He wears number 49, the second-year man from St. Cloud State here in Minnesota. Doug Williams on first down. The Bucks from their 41 in the I formation. Straight ahead is Gary Davis, number 28. And he got maybe 2 on the play before the middle linebacker Studwell, number 55, made the initial hit. It'll be 2nd and 8. We mentioned the 3 Davises in the Bucs backfield. Gary, number 28, Johnny Davis, the 3rd-year man from Alabama, Tony Davis, the 5th-year man from Nebraska. Knopf is back in for the Vikings, and Nord has gone out. 2nd and 8. Jones comes wide left, number 84. Isaac Hagen's in the slot. They shift Gary Davis up to the wing right. Pitch out, Bell. Mark Mullaney wraps him up after a gain of about 3 yards out the right side. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Ricky Bell coming into the game with 503 yards rushing, leading the Buccaneers in that category, and has 32 receptions, leading Tampa Bay in that one as well. Well, you've done a good job when you hold Ricky Bell down to that kind of number. Kevin House is in. 3 wide receivers for Tampa Bay. Obradovich, the tight end, is in as a double tight end with 1 running back. Williams complete to Jones. Nice play. He was wide open and has a 1st down at the 40-yard line. What a pretty pattern there, Johnny. They had 5 receivers in the lineup there on that play.
And you're going to see Obradovich, number 86, come out and clear the zone as Jones fakes to the outside. And here comes the clearing pattern, and there was Jones wide open over the middle, and Kurtnoff and Bobby Bryant in on the tackle. Watch Obradovich, number 86. He comes out, clears his zone, good pass blocking, and Jones comes in underneath the coverage over the middle with plenty of room.
1st down, Tampa Bay at the 40-yard line. They trail 7-0. Hagen's 81 in motion. Ricky Bell, the tailback. It's about 4 straight ahead. Running behind Tony Davis, who was in at the fullback position. Matt Blair made the tackle. Randy Holloway there as well. New England leads the Rams 14-7 in the 2nd quarter. That's a big game. 2 fine teams. St. Louis in front of Dallas 14-0 in the 1st quarter there. Look at that one. That would be something. The Cowboys upset by the Giants last week and losing more ground on the Philadelphia Eagles, who are soaring. 2nd and a long 6 for Tampa Bay. Bell shifts into the pro set. Slot formation right. Out to Bell. He's got room. Bell to the 20-yard line of the 19 before he's pulled down by Kurt Knopf. And 2 good-looking plays by Tampa Bay have got the Vikings defense.
Kurt Knopf got picked off by Gordon Jones coming across the middle, and he was the man that was supposed to be out there to cover the back out there, and he had to get out there late. It was a legal pick by Gordon Jones because he just came across the field, and then he had to go around him.
You know, they complain about Williams lacking touch in his first couple of years in this league. I think we're just seeing more and more of his maturation. That was a perfectly feathered pass over the linebacker to Ricky Bell. Bell and Eckwood now the running backs. 1st down, slot formation. And that is Bell being stopped by Mark Mullaney, number 77, who has been a terror defensively the last few weeks for the Vikings. A gain of a yard on the play. And it gets tough inside the 20. 2nd and 9. Mullaney, along with Holloway and Duck White, 3 number 1 picks, 1975, 76, and 78. The veteran Doug Sutherland. And that front 4 that's been playing so well. 2nd and 9. Jones left. Hagen's right. Williams for House. Touchdown. Kevin House. On the coverage was Nate Wright, and Kevin House with 4.4 speed just ran right by the veteran Wright, and Williams put it on the money at 7-6.
You talk about a nice offensive drive here. Watch this play. House just turns it on and runs right by Wright. Just tremendous speed, and the pass was right on the numbers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers look very impressive, just as impressive as the Vikings did on their drive. There's John McKay. He's got to be happy about that. He's a little under, notice he's blowing his nose there. He's a little under the weather. He has a case of the flu, but felt my team's playing football. I got to be there.
Garrow Premian, and it's blocked. It was blocked, I believe, by Martin. If not Martin, it was Joe Sensor, number 81, the tight end. And a big point there as Minnesota holds the lead, but just by 1.
4-7-6.
Garrow Premian having it blocked. The kickoff goes into the end zone, and Payton is tackled there. in the end zone, and he's furious, but he did kind of dawdle around back there, and it was Neil Colsey who put the hit on him, and that draws a crowd, flags, and all kinds of upsets down there. I guess Payton thought the ball had rolled out of bounds, and that no contact should have been made. Colsey thought it was still alive.
Actually, Payton does not have a beef, because that ball was a live ball in the end zone, and Colsey was coming down to try and gain control, and he should do what he did. Payton was just a little bit too lackadaisical, and it was really his own fault. Now, see, he still hasn't got control of the ball. Just now got it, and Colsey had made his commitment to try and slide under there and get the ball.
Well, it sounded like they gave that penalty to Eddie Payton. And they're going to bring the kickoff back, it also appears. So there was, oh yes, there's a flag down here at the line of scrimmage. There may have been somebody offside for Tampa Bay on the kickoff. And those two just may offset each other. So a little confusion in the end zone there on the part of Eddie Payton. On the replay, Johnny, it did not look like the ball had gone out of bounds, so he was still playing the ball, and a little carelessly. And Colsey had every right to go after him there, and indeed go after the ball for that matter.
I think he was a little bit surprised, Tim, that somebody got down there that quickly. Colsey was really hustling down the field as the ball bounced around. Almost made a super play out of it.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Everybody's onside on the kickoff, although apparently somebody was offside for Tampa Bay. So they're going to kick it over again, and there's Eddie Payton back at the 1-yard line, and I think the official explaining to him, hey, you got to play that ball there, Eddie, and he had a right to come at you. By the way, when that point after was blocked, it ended a string of 60 consecutive point afters for Garo Yepremian. 21 of 21 for Tampa Bay this year. So Yepremian kicks it off again, and again it's Eddie Payton, and he drops the ball at the 10-yard line. And they dropped him at the 18, close to the 20-yard line. Norris Thomas, former Miami Dolphin defensive back, making the tackle. Baltimore leading the Lions 10-0 at halftime in that game, Johnny. The Lions in a deep slide.
Well, they at one time were 6-2. They're now 6-4 and losing 10-0, so they could be 6-5. They were leading the Central Division going in, so this division has really tightened up. And one thing for sure, there's not going to be a wild card team from the Central Division. You're going to have to win that division to make the playoffs.
So the Vikings, who took the opening kickoff and drove it down for the go-ahead touchdown, leading 7-6, have first down at their 20. Ted Brown, the lone setback. Kramer wants to throw. Deep. Oh, he's open. Open and overthrown, intended for Rashad. Ahmad Rashad was open down the right sideline. A fake pump by Kramer, a pretty play, but the ball overthrown.
He faked the quick post, the slant in, and then Rashad just turned it up the field. Everybody was fooled on it. The entire Tampa Bay defensive backfield. Cedric Brown really went for it, and the pass was just a little bit overthrown, or it would have been an easy touchdown for Minnesota.
The Eagles, 9-1 with the best record in the NFL, lead Washington 17-0 in the second quarter. Philadelphia, and you and I were chatting before the game, they've got a great record, but they've only beaten one team with a winning record so far, the Dallas Cowboys. They've got the tough part of their schedule coming up. Terry LeCount is in at wide receiver. Rashad gets a rest. Second down play, and breaking out of there is Ted Brown. They had him behind the line of scrimmage. I believe it was Leroy Selman and Richard Wood who had a grasp on him, but Brown broke it out and wound up gaining close to 7 yards on the play.
David Logan also had his arms wrapped around him, and Ted Brown has been one of the big reasons that the Vikings have had a resurgence on offense. He is now really coming into his own, not only as a runner but as a pass receiver. He caught 9 passes last week, and he's what did he combine for, 140 yards?
140 yards passing and 50 running, so we have himself quite a day, nearly 200 yards. Rashad is back in on 3rd down and 4. The Vikings lead it 7-6. Kramer has lots of time, and he hits Bob Tucker. Tucker first down to the 43-yard line. And it was the linebacker Cecil Johnson ranging back to get him. And another good-looking pass play.
And you'll see Dewey Selma, number 58, covering him, but Kramer has so much time, there is no rush on him, that he can't cover him all the way across the field. And there's where Tucker finds the opening and gets another first down for Minnesota. But the pass blocking's been pretty good so far for the Vikings.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris here at Met Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. 40-degree temperatures. Unusual for this time of year. It's just perfect football weather in Minnesota. First down, Vikings. Play action. Kramer has time again. And this time it's well-covered Richard Wood picking up the release man. That was Ted Brown, and Richard Wood was right there to hit him at the line of scrimmage.
I think this might have been a little screen there to the middle, and I think Brown got a little bit too far there. As you see, the lineman's trying to release, and here's Brown right there. It's supposed to be a screen middle, but he's kind of down a little bit too far, and Wood makes a heck of a play there for Tampa Bay.
The injured player is Dennis Swilly, who's been playing very effectively in the middle. That'll bring in Jim Langer, acquired from Miami in a trade. Number 58, the man who had so many great years with the champion Dolphins. These quarterbacks are off to quite a start, Johnny. Kramer is 6 for 10 and 81 yards. Williams is 4 out of 5 and 63 yards.
And I wonder what Ron Jaworski is. It's 17-0 Eagles over the Redskins. A tough year for Washington and Coach Jack Pardee. As you look at Tommy Kramer, he threw no interceptions last week. That was the first time this season he had been bothered by interceptions most of the first part of the season.
Terry LeCount has come in to give the Vikings 3 wide receivers. Ricky Young has gone out. Ted Brown is the lone running back. In the slot left, it's Sammy White, number 85. Kramer on second down. Little pressure to the short man, Brown. Gets away from one man, gets a good block. Finally forced out at the 38-yard line, but he has first down yardage. It was Danny Reese, the nickelback, who knocked him out. Good running by Brown.
And good adjustment in the pocket by Kramer. As the rush comes, Selman forces him to go forward. Brown makes the catch, and watch the move he puts on 57 Lewis on this one. Right here, as he fakes upfield, and there goes David Lewis. Says, where did he go? As Ted Brown takes it down the field. First down, Vikings.
Dallas is on the board in the first period against St. Louis. It is now 14-7 for the Cardinals in that game. First down, Minnesota at the 41-yard line. Slot formation right. Both these teams have been moving the ball impressively. Well-executed plays. Flag down as Brown is hit at the line of scrimmage. Surges forward for a couple. The first man to hit him on the end was Kohler, number 77, and Lewis, number 76, the nose man. Flag down. Let's pick it up from referee Dick Jorgensen. The preliminary signal is against Minnesota. Vikings lead it 7-6 on the Kramer to White 27-yard touchdown.
Illegal motion, number 61. Offense went before the snap. Still first down.
Illegal motion against Wes Hamilton, the right guard for Minnesota. The Bucks scoring on a 19-yard pass. Williams to Kevin House. The point after blocked by Joe Sensor of Minnesota. There's Hamilton, veteran guard. He's been hurt. The Vikings offensive line's had a lot of injury, and they're finally all healthy now. Slot formation right. Terry LeCount in as the third receiver. First and 15. Brown straight ahead. Look at him work for 5 yards. Gets it back to the original line of scrimmage. David Lewis, the linebacker from the left side, came in to make the hit, number 57. Got some help from Dewey Solomon, number 58. It'll bring up 2nd and 10. Sensor goes out. Tucker comes in, delivering the play to Tommy Kramer.
The Buccaneers are using their basic 3-man front. They use a lot of 3-4, and sometimes they bring in their 5 backs. They have the 5 backs in now with just the 3 normal linebackers.
Danny Reese is the extra back on 2nd and 10. Everybody in the pattern for the Vikings. Kramer pumping, now delivers to Tucker. First down, Vikings to the 18-yard line of Tampa Bay. And it's Danny Reese, the nickelback, who made the stop. But the Vikings, with Kramer again working well, waiting for Tucker to open up.
Boy, he's been looking fantastic. Take a look at Kramer here. As he fakes the pass, he sees the rush coming, starts the fake of the run, and then is on the run as Kohler is coming after him and still gets the pass right on the money to Tucker. The Vikings look terrific on offense.
First down to the 18-yard line. The veteran receiver, Bob Tucker, leaves, and they have Sensor, number 81, in at tight end now. Play action. Kramer trips and finds an open man, but he gets the ball short. As he lost his balance, Kramer, doing his scrambling, trying to get it cross field against the grain to Ricky Young. The ball didn't arrive.
He spotted him, and he was wide open, but he had to stop and try and throw it desperately, or it would have been an easy touchdown because Young had sneaked out of the backfield. You see the play action one way. Now see 34 going to the top of your screen. Kramer's looking downfield, and there he tries to find Ricky Young, but he can't get enough mustard on the ball as Mark Cotney came back to react, but it's a good thing there was some harassment there, or they'd have had a touchdown.
Yeah, and it's a little greasy, that part of the field. It looked like he slipped as he was trying to throw it. Brown straight ahead behind the right guard. Hamilton has a lot of room and picks up 6 yards on the play to bring up 3rd and 4 for the Vikings, who are threatening again now with the ball at the Tampa Bay 12-yard line. And there's a look at the numbers for last week for this young man who was bothered with a knee injury in his rookie year. Dewey Selman, and Richard Wood put the hit on Ted Brown. And it looks like this young man is about to arrive as a first-class running back in the National Football League.
And we'll have to look at the formation. Now they have the 2 wide receivers not on the same side. I figured they'd be on the same side. Sammy White runs back over. Let's see if he goes in motion.
He's in the slot. Rashad is wide left. Kramer out of the backfield to the tight end. Sensor. Touchdown, Joe Sensor. What a nice play. Kramer hitting Sensor, and the Vikings have scored on 2 consecutive drives since this game began. We're down to 1:23 in the first period.
And it was Sensor who came underneath. You'll see 23, Ted Brown coming out of the backfield, and then he comes back across the Sensor, made a nice little twist move, didn't he?
Sure
Came
did.
out of the backfield, out of the his tight end spot, got the play.
First-year man from Westchester State, and Dan Meyer in for the point after. He's got it. So the Minnesota Vikings move 80 yards in 10 plays. A 12-yard touchdown pass. Kramer to Sensor, and the Vikes lead it 14-7. 6 make it.
Now here is David Lewis, number 57, on the jam. And then he releases. He sees Ted Brown, and a nice move there by Sensor. He goes back the other way, and there's the pass right on the button, and Lewis comes back to react, but he can't prevent the touchdown for Minnesota.
So Dan Meyer will kick it off, and we have 1:23 remaining here in this first period. Another short kickoff. O'Branovich gathers that in at the 25 and gets to the 31-yard line before he is stopped. So twice now Dan Meyer has kicked it to the wall in front of the deep men and the tight ends. The first time Samuels, this time O'Branovich making the return. There are the numbers. A 4:37 possession for Minnesota. Twice now they've taken the kickoffs, the opening one and the Tampa Bay kickoff, and gone the distance for the score. Kramer 9 of 14, 132 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Do you notice how both teams have been hitting the receivers over the middle? A lot of room today.
Let's see whether Williams goes that route, as Tampa Bay has scored in its first drive, and they have the ball for the second time. In motion is Isaac Higgins. A little roll for Williams, and that ball well overthrown. The man was open, Gordon Jones, down the sideline at midfield, and it looked like Williams might have thought he was going a little deeper. James White putting the pressure on Williams on the rollout. So it is 2nd and 10 from the 31-yard line of Tampa Bay. I think that figure is 9. Is it not? 9 interceptions?
Only 3%. His interception rate's been very good this year.
Yep. He's 3rd best in that category in the NFC. Ricky Bell. Bell gets only a yard. Studwell is there, number 55. Also out on the corner, Johnny Turner, number 27. Gain of close to 2. It'll bring up 3rd down, and the Bucs now with their first tester, trying to keep their drive alive. We have not had a punt in this football game as yet.
Isaac Hagan's in with the play. Of course, it comes in from John McKay, who is talking to Bill Nelson, who is now upstairs.
7 defensive backs are in for the Vikings. Keith Norris and Larry Broom have joined in that secondary. Williams, a deep drop. Up the middle for Jones. He has it. First down for Gordon Jones to midfield. And the youngster from Pittsburgh, with 2 men on him, is pulled down from behind by Bobby Bryant. But that was a big third down play.
Double coverage. Bryant on the short side, and you see Knopf on the deep side, and the pass was just on the money. Perfect pass by Doug Williams. He's really been on target, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. That last pass, really the only bad one that he's thrown. And it looked like it might have been a little confusion on the route, so we don't even know that that was all his fault. The gun is sounded, ending the first period here with the Vikings leading 14-6. As we look at Doug Williams, who's 5 for 7 and 81 yards. Minnesota passed for 132 yards in the arm of Tommy Kramer in the first quarter. And you could sum up the quarter very simply. 2 scoring drives by Minnesota, 1 by Tampa Bay. And thus, 152 yards for Minnesota, 93 for Tampa Bay in the first period. And the Bucs are on their second drive of the football game. First down inside the 50. He wants to go deep. He's got House open. Kevin House, touchdown. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers come right back with their second drive. The bomb 50 yards away, make it 49 to rookie Kevin House.
Tremendous play as House went down. They faked the short one, just turned on the speed, and he has got it. He is coming into his zone, isn't he? He got behind right, touchdown, pass right on the numbers, and he leaps in for the touchdown. And I'm telling you what, we're seeing quite a football game.
That is for sure. And we have yet to see a punt because they just move it on down for scores. Kevin House has got 2 touchdown passes, both of them by the veteran Nate Wright. That's an interesting development that bears some further discussion. Let's watch Yepremian. This one he has, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have pulled back to within 1 point. With 14:53 remaining in the first half, the Vikings 14, the Buccaneers 13. Doug Williams has tossed twice now to Kevin House for Buccaneer touchdowns, 49 yards to the rookie Kevin House, and twice he has burned the veteran Nate Wright. The kickoff is taken by Eddie Payton. Payton running hard. Good return over the 30 to the 34-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. And he's pulled down there by the linebacker Brantley. So the Bucs going 69 yards in 4 plays. And Kevin House coming into this game and analyzing the Vikings secondary said that they have one guy, Johnny Turner, who runs a 4.55 40. The rest of them are 4.7 or 4.8. He says my speed will be definitely an advantage. He runs it in 4.4. Well, he has certainly proved the point already in this game, beating Nate Wright twice now for scores. It is first down, Minnesota. They have scored on both possessions. Play action, Kramer. Out for Ricky Young. Young up the sideline, cuts inside Curtis Jordan, then is taken down by Richard Wood, but picks up 9 yards on the play.
We're getting some real good action by our quarterbacks. That time he looks downfield, sees nobody's open, so quickly goes to his safety valve, boom, boom, like that. And Ricky Young is great out of the backfield. He catches a lot of passes, puts a good move on Jordan here, gets a few extra yards out of it, almost a first down, 9.5 yards.
You know, just returning to Kevin House, he had only 1 catch before last week. Caught 4 against Pittsburgh, and he's been a big man here today. Ted Brown, the big man for the Vikings, gets the first down yardage over the 45 to the 46-yard line as the Vikings continue to move it at will. That's the first down rushing by either team today.
That's the thing that is contrary. Everybody says you got to establish the run, and I've always said you don't have to establish the run, and they're making me right here. You throw the ball with all the new rules and regulations that have helped passing games. You might as well go out and establish the pass, and then you can run.
Vikings have been helped in their drives by the 3 good returns by Eddie Payton. He's got a total of 81. The only mistake he made it deep in the end zone was wiped out anyway on the offside charged against Tampa Bay. Kramer on first down has time. Sammy White, who had slipped down, got himself back up to make a diving catch. And a first down, Minnesota driving again at the 37. Jordan on the coverage.
You're exactly right. Sammy White slipped down to his knees, got up, and still made the grab as Kramer waited for him. And here comes the ball. Nice two-handed catch as Curtis Jordan makes the tackle. First down, Minnesota.
Johnny, I've been remiss in not reporting that Leroy Selman has been missing here. Went out during the last Viking offensive series. He was poked in the eye and has not returned as yet. So that could be a factor as the afternoon goes along. This is a draw to Ricky Young, and he's pulled down by Bruce Radford, number 78. Reserve lineman from Grambling, acquired on waivers from Denver this year. Former pick of the Broncos, a third-round pick last year. So Radford working in Selman's spot. Dave Stalls was also in there, and there is Leroy Selman, all-world, described by many observers of pro football's defensive lineman. And got a nice pack on that eye. Second down and 7 for the Vikings. Slot formation left. Kramer, lots of time again, intended for Robert Miller out of the backfield, but incomplete with coverage from Cotney and Richard Wood. Third down. And so now the Vikings in a dicey third down spot to try and keep the drive alive. Neither team has been stopped as yet.
That's what I was going to say. We might have the first punt of the game if they don't get the first down. Wouldn't, well, they're down to the 35. That'd be a pretty long field goal.
Well, let's see what they do. Slot formation left, White in the slot. Rashad wide left, Terry LeCount wide right. Extra backs are in for Tampa Bay. Kramer, he's got LeCount open. First down to the 16-yard line, where he is hit by number 25, Curtis Jordan. But the Vikings not only keep it alive, they're in scoring position again.
That ball almost looked like a wounded duck as it was going through the air, but it got there almost end over end, and LeCount had driven Jordan off a couple of yards, and all Jordan could do was react and make the tackle. First down, Minnesota.
At the 16-yard line of Tampa Bay, these teams have literally been marching down the field once they've had possession from the kickoff. 14-13. Minnesota leads Tampa Bay in this all-important Central Division battle. Division leading Detroit currently behind in their game to Baltimore. This is Ricky Young. Pulled down from behind with a shoestring tackle by number 76, Dave Logan, the second-year man from Pittsburgh. David Lewis, the linebacker, made sure he got no farther. A gain of 1. Second. And now let's call it 8.5. The ball is just inside the 15.
The Buccaneers defense has given up a lot of yards today, and actually Tampa Bay had some problems with injuries on the defense early in the year, but the last couple of games they've started to come around, but so far today they haven't been able to stop Minnesota at anything.
Reggie Lewis, number 79, is in Selman's spot at right defensive end. Little rollout left by Kramer, now scrambling up the middle. Inside the 5-yard line to Ahmad Rashad, and it was Richard Wood, now make it Cedric Brown, number 34, who stopped him there. Kramer, having to scramble, found the open man.
Just a great individual play by Kramer. As you see, they're not getting any pass rush. This time he goes out of the pocket. He's very quick, and he spots Rashad. He had to throw back against the grain, against the way he was running, and that's very tough to do. And Kramer looked like a Fran Tarkington on that play, didn't he?
Sure did. 3 tight ends are in now for the Vikings here as they are approaching the goal line. Bob Tucker goes in motion, now comes back to the wing. Trying to get it to Young in the corner, and it is incomplete. They had both Young and Sensor there. And Cedric Brown, deep on the coverage, wound up in one of the cheap seats over there in this baseball field at Metropolitan Stadium.
And a good play by Kramer. He saw the play was covered. He just threw it out of the end zone. They tried to surprise Tampa Bay with a first down pass from the 3, and the Buccaneers were waiting for that one.
Second and goal from the 3. Robert Miller, Ted Brown are in at running back. Bob Brewer, Bob Tucker, Joe Sensor, 3 tight ends in the block. They give it to Brown, trying to make the corner, and he does. Ted Brown has scored for the Vikings from 3 yards out, and 3 times the Vikings have taken a kickoff and gone all the way. 65 yards in 10 plays, and Ted Brown was piled up at the corner and gets up slowly.
Is he holding his knee? If it's his knee, he had a knee injury last year. It was almost a forward shovel pass here. Watch, Kramer just throws a forward shovel pass, and he gets some good blocking out in front. Number 35, Robert Miller, threw a good block as he is into the corner of the end zone for the touchdown.
Looked like he stretched out his left leg to get into the end zone and took a hit right at that point. Let's see it again. We can see it here. And evidently it wasn't the contact at all. It was the fact when he came down on the left leg, it looked like somehow he either slipped or twisted his right leg, and that's what's being attended to at the moment. And this young man, who is really coming into his own as a Viking running back, should he go down, that would be a severe loss for Minnesota. 3-yard touchdown run by Ted Brown. And the Vikings going for the point after. Danmar. And he has it. So with 9:26 remaining here in this first half of play, Minnesota Vikings 21, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 13. Well, on the Vikings bench, the main man's getting himself some attention there. They're just now rolled up to take a look at that right knee, which looks like he already has a wrap of some kind on it. And Danmar will kick it off for Minnesota. They lead it 21-13. We've not had a punt. Another short kickoff by Danmar. Tony Davis, number 27, gets out to the 30-yard line, and each team has had good field position. Good returns by Eddie Payton for Minnesota. Short kickoffs by Danmar for the Vikings have given the Bucs good field position on the kickoffs. Dallas creeping back against St. Louis. Once trailed 14-0, have closed it to 14-10 in the second quarter. And there you see the Falcons leading the Saints, who have yet to get a victory, 17-7 in the third.
And look what I see above the stadium. Wouldn't you love to be up there in that balloon calling this game? This beautiful balloon on a beautiful day.
We can't show that balloon, John, for obvious reasons. In any event, take our word for it. There is a hot air balloon up there. Slot formation right for Tampa Bay from their own 30-yard line on first down. Williams, screen pass, Ricky Bell. He's got blockers. He's got a first down over the 40 to the 42-yard line. Pulled down by Doug Sutherland and Matt Blair.
Nice screen here. You're going to see the right side of the offensive line just move right over there and go out in front. There's Ray Snell. There's Steve Wilson, throws a good block right in front. And Ricky Bell does the right thing, I would say. Follow those big men.
This young man is now 7 of 9. Kramer is 13 of 20 for Minnesota, 187 yards already. Seaman is in the game at linebacker, joining the other 3 on first down. Ricky Bell has a good hold on the ball, but it's recovered by Tampa. And let's see if they hold on. Ricky Bell, who does not fumble very much, dropped one there after picking up about 8 yards. And I believe it was Jim Obradovich, or maybe Giles, Jimmy Giles, yes, who picked up the loose ball for Tampa.
There was the hit, and there's Jimmy Giles standing there, says, I got it. I remember George Hallis used to say, the guys who recover the fumble are the guys that aren't doing anything.
Well, Fred McNeil did something. It was he who put that wrap on Ricky Bell. Second and a long 2 for the Bucs at midfield, close to midfield. Oh, play there by number 75, Randy Holloway, hopping Ricky Bell and driving him back for a loss. Quite a charge by that front 4.
Here comes Mr. Holloway, boom, right through there, and stops Bell before he can even get started.
The number 1 pick from Pittsburgh in 1978. Been a little impatience with these youngsters replacing the famous Purple People Eaters, but it looks like they are getting it all together. Third down. Extra defensive backs are in for the Vikings on 3rd and 5. Bell the lone setback. 3 wide receivers. Out to Bell. Bell. And it looks like he has the first down. Keith Nord pulls him down right near the marker. And let's see how they mark it. And it is at the 48-yard line, an apparent first down for Tampa Bay on a big third down situation. Each team has been able to convert when they've been faced with that.
It is a first down. A nice fingertip catch by Bell as Williams was under pressure from the blitz and just put the ball right out there, reached out there very nicely, and Nord makes the tackle, but not in time, and our record is still intact. Nobody's had to punt.
That's right. And again, a nice feathered ball from Williams in a situation where he had to do it. New England leads Los Angeles 14-10 in the third quarter. Quite a ball game going there. First down, Tampa. Hagen's in motion. Here comes the rush from White. He ducks under it and throws it out of bounds. 2 receivers down. There's Giles and Hagens. He just wanted to unload. The flag is down where Williams was hit.
I think they're going to call a face mask on it, or there it is.
That's the signal.
He really gets hit right in the chops, or it would have been the chops if he didn't have a face bar, but that can be awfully hard on the neck. As you can see the rush here, and coming by was James White.
Penalty, number 72 defense. That's the quarterback as he went by. First down.
Well, I tell you, Dick Jorgensen gives you a full play-by-play on his penalties, which is terrific for the fans in the house to really get such a clear explanation of exactly what happened.
He should be up in the booth.
That's right. Come on up here, Dick. I don't want to run around down there with all those big guys up.
Which one of us is going down there?
Not me. First down, Tampa Bay. Ricky Bell. He's got a good hole. Ricky Bell, look at him batter his way for an extra couple and a gain of close to 7 on the play. And the word on Ted Brown is that he has a bruised right knee, so we'll see if he comes back in when the Vikings get the ball again. Studwell finally the man to get Ricky Bell down, bringing up 2nd and 3. And word from Detroit, where the Lions are losing, Billy Sims has just crossed the 1,000-yard mark for the season in rushing. 4 linebackers are in for the Vikings now on 2nd and 4. Make it a long 3. In the I formation, Ricky Bell gets a good block from Tony Davis, shakes out 1 tackle, but not the second one from Duck White, number 72, and the cornerback Johnny Turner, number 27, and he got very little of anything on the play. Well, forward motion gets him a yard, brings up 3rd and 2. Third down conversions, the Vikes have done it 5 out of 5. The Bucs have done it 4 out of 4, and they're faced with another one here.
Teams usually go, what, 25, 30% on third down conversions? It's amazing.
It really is. Slot formation right. Let's see if the Bucs can do it again. Bell and Johnny Davis are the running backs now. Williams, lots of time, up the middle of the short man, incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Giles, and Jeff Seaman was all over him. And for the first time, the drive has been blunted.
He was almost all over him too soon, as Williams wanted to throw downfield, couldn't find anybody, and threw a 5-yard little short pass there, which was incomplete, and the first time in the game somebody has been stopped.
Well, but it looks like they're going to go for it here. The Bucs are going to go for it. They trail 21-13. They have a 4th and 2 at the 35-yard line. It would be out of Yepremian's range, so John McKay says, let's not punt it, let's go for it. Hagen's in the slot right. Pressure on Williams. Gets it away, incomplete. The safety blitz from Hannon, and a good rush by James Duck White. Got the pressure on Williams on 4th down, and so the Vikings will take over.
And you said it right. Pressure, pressure. Hannon comes. Nord comes. James White will be there. But it was Hannon that got there first. It caused him to adjust, and it was James White that put the hit on just as he tried to release the ball. So a drive falters. The Minnesota Vikings take over, leading the game by a score of 21-13.
We have had quite a half of football. Minnesota leads at 21-13. They have stopped the Buccaneers for the first time. On 4 downs, they have first down at the 35-yard line of Minnesota. Tommy Kramer at quarterback has been brilliant thus far. Out of the backfield, Ricky Young. Young has a first down to the 45-yard line of the Vikings, circling out of the backfield and picking up 10. He's pulled down by the linebacker Cecil Johnson with help from Dewey Selman, number 58.
He faked his blocking real well and just came across the line of scrimmage there, and watch him dip under the tackles here. Gets his head underneath and busts through and got almost the first down.
Johnny Green Bay currently tied for 3rd place with Tampa Bay at 4-5-1 here in the NFC Central, trailing the Giants at halftime 14-7. And the leading Detroit Lions are losing to Baltimore 10-0 in the 3rd period of that game. And so the Vikings and the Bucks getting help at the moment with the Lions and Green Bay both behind.
And it is a first down for Minnesota.
St. Louis leading Dallas now 21-10 in that game. I had already given Minnesota the first down. And it is at the 45-yard line. In motion, the tight end Sensor. Kramer deep sideline. Sammy White complete. First down at the 39-yard line of Tampa Bay. Kramer is now 15 of 22.
Curtis Jordan is playing way off that time. Sammy White had plenty of room to maneuver as Jordan was by himself, and he wasn't going to let Sammy White get behind him. And look at that. Plenty of room. Perfect timing. Precision pass.
We have not seen Leroy Selman back in for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's that Cardinal score in the 3rd period. 21-10. Vikings driving again, having stopped the Buccaneers. Screen pass, Ricky Young, number 34, and it's Dave Stalls, a former Dallas Cowboy, pulling him down. Ball came loose, but play had already been whistled dead. That catch for Sammy White, his 5th of the day, 68 yards. And we still have nearly 4 minutes, a little more than 4 minutes remaining in the first half.
And boy, does Kramer mix up his receivers. Brown has caught 41, Rashad 39, Young 33, Sammy White 28, and the tight ends combined have caught 30. That's what you call spreading them around.
3 wide receivers are in. Terry LeCount, 1 running back. LeCount, the 3rd wide receiver. Kramer with lots of time. Joe Sensor. That's the play that scored the touchdown. Going the other way, it gets them a first down to the 22-yard line. Richard Wood made the tackle, number 54.
And the Vikings are taking advantage of what they'll give to you. That's the delay. They go downfield. They drop everybody off. So the Vikings are keeping a slow blocker who was Sensor that time and taking him downfield for the short pass in front of him, and they're running with the ball. By slow blocking means he stays in the line and blocks for a couple of seconds and then takes off down the field on a delay.
Bob Tucker has come in for Sensor. Sammy White goes wide right, number 85. Rashad wide left, number 28. Kramer 17 of 24. Kramer under pressure for the first time, and he almost got it complete to Ahmad Rashad. Kohler and Logan got to Kramer, and Kramer is slow to get up. And timeout is being called down there for the injury to Tommy Kramer. That is the first time that the Buccaneers have had any real pressure on the quarterback, and they put a pretty good lick on him. Bill Kohler and Dave Logan. Steve Dills warms up on the sideline. He played the week before last against Washington when Kramer was bothered with a thumb and finger injury. Dills did quite a job. The Redskins rumped.
He might have gotten hit in the midsection. The wind knocked out of him. They caught him up in the air trying to throw that pass. Actually, there was one time that he could have run around to the right side, but he kept looking for his receivers, and paid the price.
So we have 2:52 remaining in the first half, with the Vikings holding a 21-13 lead, and they are second down at the Tampa 22.
Let's take a look at that play where Kramer got hurt as he goes back. Here's where he could have run to the right side. He decides he's going to throw. You're going to see Logan put pressure on him right here, and then Bill Kohler gets through right here and hits him when he's up in the air right in the chest. So mostly he got the wind knocked out of him, and there he is, Tommy Kramer taking a blow.
Yeah, he looks all right. Steve Dills, who came in to relieve him him last week, did real well. He's in there now. After he had the wind knocked out of him in the fourth quarter last week. Here is Ricky Young with a good hold to the 15-yard line of Tampa Bay. Richard Wood, the linebacker, 54, put the stop on him, but good blocking by Hamilton and Yari on the right side.
And this time you'll see number 23, Ted Brown. He goes through the hole. He can't find anybody to block. Good block by Wes Hamilton, number 61. And finally, the Buccaneers bring him down.
Kramer is back in, and it is 3rd and 3 with the ball at the 15-yard line of Tampa Bay. The Giants lead Green Bay 21-7 now in the third quarter. Big one for Green Bay today. Rolling is Kramer, and complete to Rashad, knocked out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Mark Cotney, number 33. But again, Rashad with lots of room to catch the football.
Let's take a look at Rashad. The crisscross with Sammy White, and he's wide open, as there was nothing that Cotney could do but knock him out of bounds. But they crisscrossed the wide receivers, and that's tough to cover, tough to cover.
It is 1st and goal. Radford goes out for Tampa Bay. Reggie Lewis, 79, comes in. The Detroit Lions still trail, but they have a field goal to make it 10-3 in the third quarter. Baltimore in front. 1st and goal, Minnesota, threatening to widen their lead. Draw play. Ted Brown tripped up at the 6-yard line, falls over the 5. Richard Wood sliced in to upset him, and then David Lewis and Dewey Selman finished him off at the 5-yard line. 2nd and goal from the 5. And we have 2 minutes to play in the first half here at Bloomington. A high-scoring affair with Minnesota threatening again and leading 21-13. Well, the Detroit Lions hanging in there against the Baltimore Colts. That field goal has cut the margin to 7 points. A crucial game for them. Meanwhile, the Packers trying to keep pace in the division, trailing the Giants 21-7 now. Giants upset Dallas last week. Dallas in trouble again this week. The Cardinals with a 21-17 lead. Here at Minnesota, 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line. The Vikings in front and widen. Play action. Rolling is Kramer. Kramer is hit at the 2-yard line. Picked up a couple on the run.
Well, here's the case where Kramer had a receiver, Ted Brown, right out in front of him there. He didn't know whether to throw or to run, and finally he decides to run. Brown tried to block David Lewis. Lewis hung in there and was the primary tackler on that play.
It'll be 3rd and goal. The ball is spotted close to the 2-yard line. By the way, the 238 yards in passing by Kramer unofficially in this first half, the most allowed by Tampa Bay in one half this season. As Kramer has really picked them apart, but Tampa Bay has done their fair share of passing successfully today. 3 tight ends are in. Tucker, Brewer, and Sensor. In motion is Ricky Young. Rolling is Kramer. Back the other way. Complete. Good coverage that time in the end zone on Bob Tucker. And the linebacker, well, no, it was 2 secondary men, Curtis Jordan and Mike Washington.
Tampa Bay had this defensed, and then it was Curtis Jordan who made the great save right there at the last second and batted the ball away. Number 25, Curtis Jordan.
You saw number 40, Washington, making sure that Tucker didn't get a second chance. He gave him a pretty good lick. So Danmar will come in for the field goal attempt. He'll spot it at the 9, a 19-yard try. Tampa Bay can escape with just the field goal scored against them. And Danmar nails it from 19 yards out. So the Minnesota Vikings extend their lead, but only by the field goal in a wide-open scoring game here in the first half. We're down to 146, and the Vikings now lead at 24-13. Quickly, a couple of other scores for you. Philadelphia way out in front of Washington, Johnny, 24-0. Jerry Robinson returned a fumble by the Redskins, 59 yards for the score there in the third period. St. Louis and Dallas in a ding-dong battle. The Cardinals 21, Dallas 17 in the second period. Danny White has just passed to Tony Hill for the Dallas score. So the Vikings went 64 yards in 10 plays after they had finally stopped Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay going for it on 4th and 2. in long field goal range territory, Minnesota territory. The Vikings stopped them and took it 64 yards for the Dan Meyer field goal. The deep man, Gary Davis for the Bucs, and there's Dan Meyer.
And I think the big difference in this Tampa Bay defense this year is that last year they had 40 sacks, and this year they only have 11 so far, and they haven't been able to sack Kramer. They're not getting to the passer. Of course, you don't get as many sacks when you have a three-man rush, but with Selman out of there, that kind of hurts the rush. Hasn't gotten so many sacks this year, but he gets a lot of pressures where he puts pressure on the passer.
Well, and they lost Randy Crowder early in the season. He was off to a terrific start. They've got a youngster in David Logan in that spot. So now without Crowder and Selman, that's a little different three-man front. Davis gets to the 15-yard line, and he is knocked down right there. And that is the best kickoff by either team, getting the first down at the 26-yard line. I believe I said the 15. I meant the 25, and they're going to spot it right at the 25. So Tampa Bay will start from there with 1:41 to go first half.
And we have to expect them to throw the ball. We'll see if the Vikings adjust and put a little double, triple coverage on Kevin House, who has been running like a house of fire.
He sure has. In motion and now lining up on the wing, Gordon Jones on the left side. Williams, deep sideline, wide open. Obranovich, the tight end, and he has a first down at the 39-yard line. The Vikings, Larry Brune, number 24, trying to claim he was out of bounds when he caught the ball. The officials say otherwise.
Obranovich down the field and then out to the sidelines with the wide receiver going deep. Here comes the ball. Our vantage point's not the greatest. You can't really tell there, but the officials are right on the spot, and they never make a mistake, do they?
No, never. First down at the 40-yard line. Tampa Bay. Three-man front, four linebackers in for the Vikings. On first down, they're expecting pass, and they get it. Deep sideline and out of bounds, incomplete. Kevin House slipped, and however, I don't think he could have got to that ball. Second and 10, 1:28 to play in the half. Nate Wright on the coverage.
The Vikings have so many backs in there, I can hardly count them. I think they had 7 in the last play.
Well, a little special feature with Irv Cross bringing you the changing of the guard. That'll be coming up at halftime. Of course, we'll have all the scores from around the NFL for you. Second and 10. Williams rolling right, trying to find an open man. Sideline, incomplete. Flag is down after the play. Kevin House, the intended receiver, or Higgins make it. Isaac Higgins, 81. And the ball right in and out of his hands. Flag down back at the line of scrimmage. Seemed to be thrown after the pass was thrown.
Let's see if Doug Williams gets across the line of scrimmage. He does not. They must have an illegal receiver down the field. But House dropped the ball.
Higgins.
And Higgins dropped the ball, and it's going back to be a penalty against Tampa Bay.
Well, each team has taken now one penalty that certainly had some effect.
Ineligible downfield on the pass, number 72. Offense, still second down.
That's the rookie guard, Ray Snell. I don't think he was out looking for the ball to be thrown to him, but he was illegally downfield.
Well, I think he thought Williams was going to run the ball because he rolled out and started taking off, and he figured he'd better go throw a block.
Right you are, Johnny. So it is second down and 20 from the 30-yard line of Tampa Bay. 1:22 on the clock. Williams, lots of time, and it is almost intercepted by Tommy Hannon, intended for Kevin House out at midfield.
Well, let's take a look at Kevin House as he goes down. You see double coverage, comes back to the side. He's got Hannon in front, and the deep man, the ball was just slightly batted away by Hannon. A good play, and I was really surprised Williams got the ball that close. He was on the run. He had to throw it at the last second and threw a darn good pass under the circumstances.
The Giants now lead Green Bay 21-14. The Packers have scored Lynn Dickey to rookie running back Jerry Ellis. 4-yard touchdown. So Green Bay hanging in against the Giants, and they're currently tied with Tampa Bay on the NFC Central. We'll be watching it for you. Third down. Williams out quickly to Ricky Bell. Gets some blockers, and a good defensive play, and Bell appears to be hurt on that tackle by Tommy Hannon. He picked up about 9 yards on the play. Hannon got him very low, and Bell is favoring his right leg. Well, the Vikings lost Ted Brown earlier with a bruised knee, but he came back. But the Bucks have had Leroy Selman hurt, who has not returned.
This was a good play with considering the Vikings defense, a little screen out there, and you're going to see Hannon come in right here. Hannon hits him right down low, right there on the knee, what looks like with his helmet and his shoulder, and then he spins out. It might have been on the spin out on the knee, but he is really suffering down there. Boy.
Well, this is 3rd and very long, back at the 18-yard line.
Well, it's a tough call now when you have so far to go, and with the Vikings playing way down the field, you got to maybe try and throw something underneath and get somebody on the fly coming across the field. It's pretty tough to throw any kind of a deep out or anything to get enough for the first down. It's either that or try and just run it out. But if they did try and run it out, the Vikings would call a quick timeout.
We have not had a punt in this first half. The only 4th down situation was 4th and 2 for Tampa Bay, and they went for it. The Vikings stopped it on an incomplete pass. Gary Davis, lots of running room on the drop play, gets to the 32-yard line before he stopped. This will bring up 4th down. It also brought a flag downfield on the play. Kurt Knopf made the hit for the Vikings, number 25. Matt Blair was there as well, and let's see what this penalty is. And while we await it, this telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Here's Dick Jorgensen. Well, personal foul signaled against the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, that's a tough penalty. I think they're going to get an automatic first down.
Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast, and Johnny Morris, without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings in the National Football League, is prohibited.
Personal foul, number 27 defense, forearm to the chin. First up.
Johnny Turner used the old forearm shiver, and it got caught.
Well, what a time to get a penalty like that when they had about, I don't know how many yards they had to go to get the first down, and now you give them a life with a minute to go.
Minute and 2 seconds. There's Johnny Turner. First down at the Tampa Bay 46. Williams, lots of time. Now running out of it. Dumps it off to an ineligible receiver who dropped the ball. And Doug Martin is going to run it in, and it should be an incomplete pass.
They may have ruled it a lateral. I don't know. If he
well, this is an interesting situation here.
Charlie Hanna said, I didn't want the ball.
Charlie Hanna was the right offensive tackle and ineligible receiver. There are 4 flags down. Vikings look like they are going to be recipients of a touchdown on the play the way they're acting. It was picked up by Randy Holloway. Randy Holloway, number 75, after Hanna had thrown the ball to the ground.
What happens, that was I think they're going to rule it a lateral, and Hanna assumed, thinking I'm not an eligible receiver, because if a pass is parallel, it is ruled a backward pass or a lateral.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's the way it's going to be called, but if it was a lateral, he throws the ball down, somebody picks it up and can run for the touchdown.
Well, this is going to bear some big discussion down there. Dick Jorgensen and crew. The first infraction, obviously, was that it was an ineligible receiver. Hanna realized that, and he actually caught the ball and then threw it down, trying to get an incompletion, knowing that they were going to get at least that penalty. And alert Randy Holloway scooped up the ball, and your point about whether it was forward or lateral may play a role here. The Vikings are signaling that that touchdown should count, but so far nothing yet from the officials.
It must be remembered that everybody is eligible to take a lateral, and an offensive lineman, but he wasn't thinking lateral, he was thinking pass. And it goes to show you should never, when you get the ball, don't ever throw it or do anything with it like that. Just hang on to it and fall down.
Absolutely. Well, we are still sorting this one out, and it'll be an interesting decision. It certainly could have a big effect on the outcome of this game. 24-13. The penalty against Johnny Turner, giving the Vikings a life with a minute to go. Now we're down to 55 seconds left in this first half of a wide-open game. Both teams marching down the field each time they've had the ball. The Vikings finally stopping the Bucs on a 4th and 2 in Viking territory and going the other way for a field goal.
There's another thing that could enter into this, and that is, no, if it's a lateral, he did have possession. He did have possession. They can pick up a fumble and run it for a touchdown. Sometimes the defense...
If he threw it down deliberately, I guess you would have to consider that a fumble, would you not?
That's right. I'd have to consider it a fumble.
And it did appear to me that he actually caught the ball.
Because if he threw it down, it means he did get possession of it at one time or another. If he has possession, then the defensive man can pick it up and run. If he never had possession, then you can only recover, not advance.
See what they've
Number 73 caught a backward pass, which was legal. Then he threw an illegal forward pass to the ground. The ball is then gone.
Isn't that interesting? Wow, let's look at that again. This is a first for me. I've never seen this before.
Okay, let's watch Williams, who gets in trouble. Number 73 is Hannah. You're going to see 73 right there. It looked like backward. Yeah, it was a backward pass.
Forward. You know, that would appear to me to be exactly the sound call by Dick Jorgensen and his staff. Unfortunately for Randy Holloway, as he described it, is exactly what happened there.
He was throwing it forward. If he had turned around and kind of thrown it backwards, then he probably...
That's right. Then Holloway would have been able to pick it up and go. How about that? That is about as strange a circumstance as I can recall in an NFL game. Now, I wonder whether Williams knew that he was throwing a legal pass to a guy who would otherwise be ineligible to catch it. Does he see that it is indeed?
It looked like he did it by I don't know, almost by instinct.
That'll be fun to find out. I'm sure he'll be asked after the game. All right. Meanwhile, it is Tampa ball. Second down, and he's going deep for Giles. Incomplete, just overthrown. Bobby Bryant on the coverage, and we're down to 49 seconds remaining first half. You know, if he did throw it deliberately to a man he knew that he could not throw a forward pass to, it showed some extreme presence of mind by Doug Williams to look over and say, hey, I can throw this backwards to anybody and it's legal. Hannah, on the other hand, did not have the presence of mind to realize it was legal, so he did what he thought was the right thing to do. Fortunately for the Bucs, he threw it forward and not backward.
Maybe he slammed it because he thought he had a touchdown.
He was spiking it at midfield.
Oh, well.
49 seconds to go. Boy, that was really unusual. And the crowd, of course, very unhappy here. It cost the Vikings a touchdown. Third down. Screen pass, incomplete, intended for Gary Davis, number 28. And Duck White is over there to make it difficult. Number 72 for the Vikings. So that brings up fourth down. And this will be the first punt of the afternoon. Blanchard comes in, number 16. Eddie Payton awaiting it at the 25-yard line of the Vikings. 45 seconds still remains. So the Vikings are going to get another run at the end zone. Tom Blanchard standing at the 17-yard line of Tampa Bay. High snap. And Blanchard, good job to get the punt off. Taken at the 31 by Payton. Hit at the 41, forward to the 42 or 3-yard line. It was George Yarno, number 68, who made the tackle on him. And with 35 seconds left, the Vikings are in fairly good field position here at the 43-yard line of Minnesota. 30 Morris bringing you the action. The NFL on CBS, this all-important Central Division game. Tucker in motion. Steve Dills is the quarterback. Incomplete for Ricky Young. Well, what do you figure here? Kramer came back in to finish that last drive, Johnny, after he had apparently had the wind knocked out of him. He came in for the final play that ultimately led to the field goal. But Bud Grant's got Steve Dills in here for this final attempt here at another score. 31 seconds remaining in the first half. The Lions have kicked another field goal to close the margin to Baltimore to 10-9. They trail 10-9 in the fourth period. In motion is Joe Sensor. Dills slips a little bit. Now gets it off complete to Ricky Young. And Young gets out to midfield short of the first down yardage with the time ticking here on the completed pass. 19 seconds to go. And timeout is called by Minnesota.
Let's take a look at the replay, and you're going to see pressure from the top side. And Dills has pretty good instinct here as he goes to, here comes Kohler, number 77. He slips, but he still gets out of the grass there and goes forward in the pocket like a good quarterback should, and gets the pass off to Ricky Young, who got a little bit of yardage out of it, and they called a timeout. We have a report that Ricky Bell does have a hyperextended knee, which is very general description of a banged-up knee.
It hurts for sure. It is doubtful, I would have to say, that he'll get back in. The ball is at midfield on 3rd down, and Bud Grant and Steve Dills and the offensive staff of the Vikings talking over the strategy. We'll have 19 seconds remaining on this 3rd down play. Robert Miller is in the ball game. Ricky Young is out.
If the Buccaneers try and take the outside receivers out patterns away, they'll probably try and hit somebody coming across the middle and call a quick timeout.
Rashad is split left. Sammy White split right. Word is that Tommy Kramer's all right, because Steve Dills getting the play here. He's got time, and now he runs out of time just as he wanted to release the ball for Miller. He got a hit from David Logan, number 76. Brings up 4th down.
And here comes Logan, number 76, up the middle. He does a good job of getting by Swilly and the entire line there. And he was trying to hit Robert Miller out of the backfield, but a good rush by David Logan.
15 seconds to play, first half. 24-13, the Vikings lead it. Tommy Kramer passing to Sammy White, and then to Joe Sensor. Teddy Brown going in from 3 yards out. Rick Danmeyer kicking a field goal for their points. A pair of touchdown passes, Williams to Kevin House. Greg Coleman for the first Viking punt of the afternoon. And Coleman hits it from the 40-yard line. Good kick. And it's going to be down at the goal line by Keith Noah. Well, he just let that one roll right to the goal line. Did it get in over the line or not?
Yes,
it did. Looked like he had stopped it right at the goal line. We've got 4 seconds on the clock. I don't think it's going to make much difference, but they call it a touchback. It got to the goal line, and Nord waited about a half second too long to down it. So the Bucks will start from the 20 for one play. 4 seconds on the clock. Now this will probably be your everybody down the field in the pile. There he is. There's Nord. And it looks like maybe he got a little help from his tackle, David Huffman, who might have knocked it onto the goal line. Williams throws it into the Vikings bench to end the half.
And it was a good catch by Jim Huff.
Well, we had about everything in this first half at Metropolitan Stadium. And the Minnesota Vikings have it on the scoreboard at the moment. 24-13, halftime in Bloomington.
In New York, Musburger with air cross action all over the place. On 3rd and goal, Jim Smith just dropped a perfect touchdown pass from Terry Bradshaw. They're struggling against Cleveland. Meanwhile, the New England Patriots have turned the ball over 4 times today in their showdown against the Los Angeles Rams. They trail the Rams 17-14 in the 4th. Atlanta easy, 31-7. So the Rams have to win to stay within a game of the Falcons in the NFC West. Meanwhile, the Giants lead the Packers by 10 points, 3 touchdown passes from Sims to Gray in that game. There's the situation. 13-7, and the Steelers now have a 4th and goal, and Bradshaw and Knoll are conferring over on the sideline. If the Steelers lose it, they'd be 6-5. Detroit has come back on 3 Eddie Murray field goals. Curtis Dickey scored from a yard out for the Colts. Buffalo leading Cincinnati. 14-0 is the count now. Ferguson had gone 26 yards to Butler in that game. No contest for the hottest team in the NFL. The Eagles blanking Washington 24-0 in the 4th. St. Louis 21, Dallas 17. There have been 5 touchdowns at an average length of 53 yards in that game. And of course, the game you're enjoying at the half has Minnesota ahead of Tampa Bay. 24-13 is the count there. Let me show you now what has transpired so far in the New England Ram game. It has been a dandy. It was a gadget play that turned it around. Here's the Rams' first touchdown. Ferragamo to Hicks, who just does get into the corner. But then back came Steve Grogan. The Browns have held the Steelers and just taken over. That's live. Now, Grogan to Hasselback, 35 yards, and a Patriot touchdown. Would you believe the Steelers are in that kind of trouble with less than 3 to go? Now, watch Steve Nelson drop back, one of the 4 linebackers employed by the Patriots. He rammed this interception back to the 2-yard line. They scored after that. Then this is the key player of the old flea flicker.
The old flea flicker. This play works more times than not. Ferragamo going deep. Hits his wide receiver, Denard.
And then it was Elvis Peacock for the score. So the Rams lead it. Patriots got down inside the 5, turned it over. How about this for the first play of the game?
It's a way to open up a ball game. The first time you touch it, you go coast to coast. The Giants now are a pretty hot football team.
Bill Sims under pressure here will fumble against Green Bay, and it'll be recovered by the former Lion regular Eddie O'Neill. And then a man who's having a big day for the Packers, Jerry Ellis.
Perhaps the toughest player on the field right now, number 31, carries the same number Jim Taylor wore years ago for Green Bay. Powers his way into the end zone.
Phil Sims, Ernest Gray, 20 yards, their second touchdown. Now watch what happens here on the 4th down. The Giant offensive team huddles, goes off. Here comes the punting team. Now the Packers are saying, what are we going to do? We got to get the punt return team. Quickly call timeout. It cost the Packers a timeout. Later, Sims went to Ernest Gray, 4 yards and a touchdown, and the Giants lead it. Oh, here's Ron Jaworski here.
Pretty hot ball club. They have to go to their tight ends inside the 20-yard line. Here's touchdown pass number 1 to Keith Krepley, and a few plays later, he comes back and hits Spagnola, backup tight end, for a touchdown. Jaworski to Spagnola.
And it was that Eagle defense going to work and teeing off on Theismann.
Well, when you have a nice fat cushion, you can go ahead and get after the quarterback, and they do here. Theismann feeling a lot of pressure, goes on into the Eagle rush. Ken Clark gets him.
Now here comes Jerry Robinson, the former UCLA star.
Hey, watch this guy. Number 56 is a linebacker, 3-time All-American player out of UCLA, was a wide receiver in high school. Watch that speed. Simply outruns everybody and trots in for the score.
And then it was New Orleans striking on Manning to Wes Chandler, and back came Bartkowski to Alfred Jackson for a 47-yard touchdown.
Talking about having a hot hand, Bartkowski's thrown, I think, either 2 or 3 touchdown passes today to set a record for the Atlanta Falcons for touchdown passes in a year.
Looking for William Andrews here. Down to the 1-yard line goes that big bull running back. And Bartkowski's just going to take it himself after that.
Quarterbacks are all alike. You know, you get down on the 1-yard line and they take it in, and quarterback sneaks.
And here's Bartkowski to Wallace Francis for still another score. And mark the Falcons down. They are headed for the playoffs. And here he is again on the play fake. Oh, he looks good. And the Saints look awful. Meanwhile, that St. Louis-Dallas game, well, it's gone like this. Here comes O.J. Anderson.
I really like this run. Here's a guy who's carrying about 230 pounds, sprints right up the gut, goes coast to coast. First time he touches the ball today.
Hart is 6 of 10 for 155 and 2 TDs. This is his first.
Boy, I tell you, the guy who's really been a thorn in the side for the Dallas secondary for years is this man right here, Mel Gray, goes coast to coast in this score.
Watch Preston Pearson with a diving catch here.
Well, White's had a good day. That's a great catch. He's thrown the ball 22 times, completed 13 for 214 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Hart has thrown the ball well, too. 6 for 10 for 155 yards, 2 TDs. There goes one to Tilly.
60 yards on that play, Irv. And then it was Danny White going to tough Tony Hill for 59 yards. Where's the defense in that game?
The thrill of Tony Hill. That's what he called that play.
All right, the Steelers right now, less than 2 minutes and no timeouts left. They're in trouble. The NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your local stations. The AFC has dominated that contest completely in recent seasons. But as Irv reports, there are signs that may be a-changing because of a shifting balance of power at one dominant position.
They were the quarterbacks of the 70s, and between them won 7 Super Bowls. Greasy, Stabler, and the Pittsburgh Steelers' incomparable Terry Bradshaw. He brought 4 trophies back to this town and renamed it the City of Champions. The AFC was the dominant conference in pro football, and everyone thought it was because of their great quarterbacks. But in the first season of the 80s, the names and faces are changing, and no one knows this any better than Pittsburgh's number 1.
I think that they're realizing what we realized a long time ago is that you can make a lot of things happen by throwing the football as well as running it.
Play action fake to Peacock, and Ferragamo going deep to Waddy. Jaworski fakes left and goes deep right for Scott Fitzke.
Split the running back to everybody. Flooded out. Bartkowski goes up top, wants all of it. He's got Alfred Jenkins, and he's got a touchdown.
The new look in the NFC comes from quarterbacks like Atlanta's Steve Bartkowski. The sixth year in the league is best by far, and he has the Falcons in first to prove it.
He's certainly playing well this year, and he's got all the talent in the world. Boy, he's getting the ball.
So can Philadelphia's Ron Jaworski. And with that arm at the controls, the Eagles on the best record in the NFL.
They've got the makings of an outstanding football team, and I think Jaworski is absolutely the key to any kind of success that they're going to have now and in the future.
Out west, the future belongs to the Rams' Vince Ferragamo, trying to lead his team back to the Super Bowl.
He's emerged and has taken control, and if he doesn't get involved with the Los Angeles Hollywood build-up and all the garbage that we've been reading about, he's become a big superstar.
And he's not the only one. New York has Phil Simms. Danny White is driving the Cowboys. Vince Evans of the Bears has the strongest arm in the Midwest. And Len Dickey is reviving the Pack is Back slogan. The conference rivalry is heating up.
When we play them, we want to beat them and want to beat them badly. So I would say the rivalry certainly exists.
And it is changing. The quarterbacks of the 70s are about to be replaced.
Irv, how about that young quarterback at Detroit?
Oh, Gary Daniels, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Sorry we missed him in that piece.
How long is Terry Bradshaw going to play? Rumors that he might retire within a season?
Forget about it. He told me he's going to play as long as he possibly can. He enjoys football, and as long as it's fun, he's going to play.
All right. Thank you, Irv. Let's send you back to the stadium now and the game you're enjoying on CBS.
Well, Johnny, we have the #1 defensive team of a year ago, Tampa Bay. We got the Vikings, one of the better defensive teams in recent weeks, and we've also had 5 touchdowns scored in the first half here. A lot of unusual things happening. I guess nothing more so than this very controversial play right here.
I don't think we'll ever see a play like this one again, as Williams throws a lateral to Charlie Hanna, who spikes it to the forward side. The ball is picked up and gone in for a touchdown. Everybody thought for a moment, but I think the ruling, I think the officials, when they got together, they came up with the right call, don't you?
Well, they called it the illegal forward pass from Charlie Hanna, and he effectively grounded the ball there. But on his reception, he was eligible because it was a lateral pass from the quarterback, Williams. All right, we're underway with the second half, and Gary Davis gets himself a good return out to the 35-yard line. Henry Johnson, reserve linebacker, made the tackle there, and Tampa Bay will start on offense. And in that first half, we had only 2 punts. They came late in the half. The Vikings had the ball a little bit longer, and they have the 24 points on the board. 246-yard passing for Tommy Kramer. And quite an afternoon, and likewise indeed for Doug Williams with 161 yards in passing. So off we go here. First down, Tampa Bay at the 35-yard line. Ricky Bell out with an injured knee. The first pass is complete to Jones, and Jones is close to the first down yardage. Nate Wright, number 43, made the tackle, and depending on the spotting of the ball, it's going to be a gain of about 8 yards.
And you're going to see Nate Wright gives Jones plenty of room here as he does his turn-in. Has a lot of room to make the grab, and didn't quite get the first down, but it was an easy completion for Tampa Bay.
Well, Nate Wright burned for 2 touchdowns by the rookie wide receiver Kevin House, the second-round pick from Southern Illinois in the first half. Gordon Jones picking on Wright on the first play of the second half. Straight ahead, and he is racked up right at the line of scrimmage and may indeed have lost a little bit on the play. Mark Mullaney and Scott Studwell, a pair of alliterations, made the stop.
So we have Eckwood in the ball game. Ricky Bell is not in the lineup, and which would appear that his knee injury is a little bit more serious than Ted Brown's was.
Johnny Davis goes out. Tony Davis comes in, number 27. Eckwood is the tailback in this formation where Bell would normally be. Pitch out to Eckwood. Eckwood has the first down and gets to the midfield stripe. Now remember, Eckwood was scheduled to start and did not because he has been bothered with a muscle in his calf that's tightened up on him. But he's pressed into service now.
They pull the tackle and the guard. You see Charlie Hanna out there. And Eckwood makes a nice play as he cuts back behind his lineman.
That's the first down rushing for Tampa Bay today, and they have it at midfield. Tony Davis the lead back. Williams, sideline, complete. Gordon Jones, and Jones shakes loose. One man to beat. Now back into the play as Hannon cut him off. Back into the play came Kurt Knopf to knock him down from behind, but Tampa Bay has first down at Minnesota's 20-yard line.
Let's take a look. 1 for 1, man on man. They put the blitz on. He still gets the pass off, and Turner gets a hold of him. But Jones makes a nice play here as he reaches out. It gets away from his grasp and turns on the speed. Turner misses the tackle, and if it hadn't been for Kurt Knopf hustling from shallow in the field to make a big hit here, Gordon Jones would have had a touchdown. There comes Kurt Knopf, 25.
Kevin House is split wide right. The give is to Gary Davis. Davis finds a good hole and running hard gets down to the 12-yard line. He was stopped by Kurt Knopf, and he had good blocking from George Yarno and Dave Revis on the left side of the Tampa Bay line.
There we have the Buffalo Bills leading Cincinnati 14-0, or is that a final score? That's a final score. The Bills shut out the Bengals 14-0, so Buffalo has an 8-3 record, still tied for the top spot in the Eastern Division of the AFC.
Tony Davis, Jerry Eckwood are the running backs in the I. Isaac Hagan's 81 split right. Double tight ends, Obranovich and Giles. Eckwood jumps his way over the 10-yard line. He needed 3, and it appears that he has the first down yardage. Should bring up first and goal inside the 10. They spot it just inside the 10. And so Tampa Bay threatening again. Higgins goes out. House comes in. First and goal. The Giants lead Green Bay 24-21. 3 minutes remaining in that game. Lynn Dickey has passed to James Lofton. And a significant score in this division. Let's see what the Bucs can do here. Flares it out to Tony Davis, who gets away from Blair. Touchdown! Tony Davis, the reserve running back who was cut earlier this season, made a big play against a very tough guy, Matt Blair. You beat him one-on-one, you're doing a job.
A nice pickup on the reception of the pass, and then a good move. You don't get away from Matt Blair that often. As you see, Williams is looking downfield, goes to Davis as a safety valve. Davis makes the nice grab, and here comes Matt Blair. Gives him a little straight arm and gets by for the touchdown. Good play by Tony Davis. The Buccaneers are right back in this ball game.
65 yards in 7 plays, taking the opening kickoff. A 9-yard touchdown pass. Yepremian, and a good pickup there by Blanchard, the holder, on the snap, and getting it teed up for Yepremian, who knocked in the point after. And this game is tightened right back up again. A 4-point margin for Minnesota. The Vikings 24, Tampa Bay 20, 10:55 to go, third period. At him there, and should have made the defensive play. Yepremian, kickoff to the 8-yard line, Eddie Payton. Number 31, running hard. Shakes the tackle, and good running gets him to the 36. A flag down on the play, and could have been a face mask grab there on that first high tackle that Payton got away from.
I think you might be right, Tim. It looked like somebody got the hand up there kind of high. I don't know if that's what they'll call it.
Here it is. Dick Jorgensen, the referee, signals the face mask penalty, so a good return by Payton turns into an even better one thanks to the penalty. It'll be out to the 41-yard line.
Personal foul, 5-yard face mask foul, number 41, defense, first down.
And so it is Norris Thomas getting the face guard penalty. First down, Minnesota. Kramer is back in at quarterback. Steve Dills had finished the final series of the first half. Kramer, who had such an outstanding first half of play, is the field general now. Play action. Kramer on first down. Flares it out for Young. He put a little too much zip on it, and it was a little off the mark as well, incomplete. Final score, Johnny. Baltimore, well, let's show you this one first. 24-21, the Giants lead the Packers. That game is not over. And, of course, Green Bay coming in tied with Tampa Bay at 4-5-1, a half game behind Minnesota. And the Saints and the Falcons. The Falcons, a final over New Orleans, 31-13. The winless Saints strike out again. But the Baltimore Colts have defeated Detroit 10-9. That is now final. And so the Lions slipped to 6-5. A Minnesota victory would move them into a tie. Ricky Young, a big hole, and first down yardage to the 45 of Tampa Bay. Mark Cockney put the tackle on him, but a good hole on the right side from Hamilton and Yari.
You said it right. Hamilton and Yari both. Dennis Swilley throws a good block. Watch what he does to Cottney here. Ricky Young, he really gives him a shoulder and gets a couple of extra yards out of it. Good hard running by Ricky Young, number 34.
First down, Vikings at the Tampa Bay 45. And as just to recap, as we see that final Colts score, if the Vikings win this game, they will be tied with Detroit at 6-5. Meanwhile, the Steelers have climbed back in front of the Cleveland Browns. Big game in the AFC Central. Kramer on first down. Up the middle, incomplete. In and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Ted Brown. He took an extra lick from Richard Wood. The ball was there. Brown didn't catch it. Ricky Young's 14-yard gain for the first down, his longest rush of the season. We look at number 54, Richard Wood, and Cedric Brown, number 34, really the heart of that Tampa Bay secondary.
You know, Ricky Young once caught 15 passes in a game against New England a couple of years ago.
Good news for Buccaneers fans. Leroy Selman has returned from the eye injury suffered in the second period and is out there at right defensive end, number 63. 2nd and 10, Minnesota. Under pressure, Kramer's going to run it. Kramer pulled down, but he has the first down. At the 35-yard line, Kramer scrambling up the middle of the field gets a first down. And there may be a flag on the play as well. Yes, there is. And it appears to be against the Bucs. An unhappy David Lewis indicating that.
You could see Selman forced him to run this time. They may have called it on number 58, Dewey Selman, right there for hitting high.
58 defense. First down.
Personal foul against Dewey Selman. And a first down for the Vikings at the 20-yard line now of the Buccaneers. So 2 penalties have helped the Vikings drive following the Tampa Bay score. There is brother Dewey. Inside linebacker on the left side. That defensive front, Logan, Selman, and Kohler. Linebackers Johnson, Wood, Selman, and Lewis for Tampa Bay. Robert Miller is in at running back for the Vikings, and he goes in motion, number 35. Up the middle, Ted Brown running hard inside the 10. Wood pulls him down at the 7-yard line. A sneaky little play with Brown getting the perfect pass from Kramer.
That was a nice play. They faked the screen, the little quick pass out there to Sammy White. Then they faked over to Sensor, was over on the other side doing the same thing, and Brown came out of the backfield, slipped through, and got a first down for him before number 54, Richard Wood, made the tackle.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, world champions, have defeated Cleveland today in a big one for the champs. 16-13 the final score, and they are now at 7-4, as are the Cleveland Browns at 7-4. First and goal, Minnesota. Brown takes it outside and turns the ball and scores. Shaking off the arm tackle of Washington, Ted Brown blasts into the end zone, and Minnesota is on the board here in the second half and back in front by 10.
I think his knee is okay.
I think so. 64 yards in 6 plays. The same pattern as the first half, Johnny. These teams can't stop each other.
Whatever happened to the black and blue division?
Rick Danmeyer will attempt the point after. 7-yard touchdown run for Ted Brown. Dan Meyer has it. And the Vikings go 59 yards in 6 plays.
It really didn't look like Brown was going to make the touchdown here as he dipped to the outside. They had plenty of pursuit here, but there was Washington, could not hold him back as Brown took it in, touchdown.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris here at Bloomington, Minnesota, where the Vikings have opened a 31-20 lead. And the official word on Ricky Bell with that hyperextended knee will not return today. Reserve tight end Tony Samuels, injured early in the first half. A pinched nerve, will also not return. The kickoff is taken by Gary Davis. Davis has some running room. Davis with only Dan Meyer to slow him up, and the kicker got enough of Gary Davis to prevent the touchdown. Johnny, they've done it about every way you can think of today. We have had long touchdown passes, short runs, big kickoff returns. It's all happened here in Bloomington.
Here's that touchdown play. You can see he was going to follow Huff, the left guard, right up the middle, and then dip to the outside, and he broke this tackle, which made the difference and put Minnesota ahead 31-20. But now Tampa Bay back in Viking territory in a flash.
59 yards in 6 plays, and now the Buccaneers with first down at the Minnesota 43-yard line. Williams, and he just chucks that one in the general direction of Eckwood out of the backfield. Couldn't find anybody open downfield. It'll be 2nd and 10. And there is a final score. The Eagles continue to roll, whipping the Redskins 24-0. They're now 10-1 atop the NFC East. The Giants lead the Packers 27-21. 50 seconds remaining in that game. It would be the 2nd consecutive upset for the Giants. The Packers, if they lose it, would fall to 4-6-1. 2nd and 10. In motion is Eckwood. Johnny Davis is the other running back. The flag is down. They shoot it out to Eckwood. He dropped the ball. Was not going very far anyway. Johnny Turner was on the spot.
I think they're going to call Eckwood for moving forward before the snap of the ball.
That appears to be the signal.
He botched that play completely.
Williams now 12 for 23, 207 yards passing.
There's just the pass out to Eckwood, who had taken about a step and a half forward before the snap of the ball. Ball hit him up on the pads.
Decline, 3rd down.
You had the call, Johnny. The penalty decline brings up 3rd down. So after the good kickoff return by Gary Davis, the Bucs find themselves in an important 3rd down conversion situation. There he starts to turn it upfield, Eckwood. And that was a little piece of lazy, ill-timed running. 3rd down, Williams with the pressure on here to keep it going. Out for Giles, good catch, and Giles is going to be short of the first down. He got about 8.5 yards inside the 35-yard line. It'll bring up 4th down. Matt Blair made the play on them defensively.
And that was a super catch by Giles. One-handed right out of the side. Just flicked it right out, brought it in, tried to muscle his way for the first down. Matt Blair tenaciously held on and drove him out of bounds. So it's going to be a 4th and 1 situation for Tampa Bay. A very big play.
They're going to go for it again. Tony Davis comes in. A similar situation here yardage-wise. They don't have enough confidence in Yepremian for the field goal from this distance. It would be about a 50-yarder, and they're going to go for it. On 4th and about 2. Vikings stopped them last time. Williams flips it out, and it is incomplete. Giles with very tight coverage by Hannon. Tony Davis went over to say, if that's not interference, what is? But there was an official right on the play, and he may have felt that Giles ran into Hannon, that at least he was in the legal area for contact there.
Basically, that's what's happened. They blocked the play action. They just collided, and there was no interference, in my opinion. Tampa Bay fails and falls short.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris. A final score, the Rams 17, the Patriots 14. With the earlier win by Buffalo, they are now alone atop the Eastern Division of the AFC. The Rams keep pace with Atlanta. The Falcons earlier with a victory over New Orleans. On first down, Kramer Complete to Ricky Young, and he is pulled down at the 38-yard line, a gain of 5 yards on the play. Twice now the Vikings have stopped the Bucs on 4th and 2 inside Minnesota territory. And those have been two big developments. They took the ball down the field for Dan Meyer's field goal back in the first period. And they have stopped the Bucs here again. After each team in the first half had just marched down the field from succeeding kickoffs and come up with scores. 2nd and 5. 31-20 for the Minnesota Vikings. Ted Brown. Good block, and he turns it upfield in a hurry. Out to the 49-yard line in a first down where Mark Cotney pulled him down.
What a collision between Ricky Young and Cedric Hardman.
Cedric Brown?
Brown. I said, remember Cedric Hardman right there?
Yeah.
And Brown showing no effects from the sore knee, but Young and Brown really collided on that play.
First down at the 49-yard line. Split right is Sammy White, left is Ahmad Rashad. They come out on the I. Tight end backs off to the wing, in motion now, censored. Kramer play action, deep for Sammy White. Is he inbounds? No, he's out of bounds, and so is the official on the play, who made a sliding signal down at the 10-yard line. At Sammy White did not have both feet and the ball all inbounds at the same time. And it is now final. The Giants defeating Green Bay 27-21.
Now, Sammy White actually had a step on Jordan, and the ball was thrown just a little bit too far to the outside. He makes the catch, and you can see both feet are in the air, and he comes down, and he's out of bounds. A good call by the official, who came sliding in with his call.
Second down, Vikings. So if Tampa Bay can come from behind to win, they can move ahead of Green Bay in the standings. If Minnesota wins, they'll move into a tie with Detroit. Little Statue of Liberty to Brown, running hard, picks up about 5, and it's very slippery over there as he went skidding through that sideline white chalk into the Tampa Bay bench, but is up and all right. David Lewis forcing him out. 3rd and 5.
The key confrontation was number 81, Censor, with David Lewis here, as he kept trying to push Lewis down the field right there, and Lewis came off the block, and there goes the slide into second base. And you can see this is one of the few fields that left where the two teams are on the same side of the field. I think Milwaukee is the only other one where the Packers play some of their games, but the benches are very close together.
You see the Vikings on the right, white-clad Buccaneers on the left on the far side of the field. It is 3rd and 5. In motion back toward the ball, White now turns it upfield. Kramer rolling to the short side, and he is sacked. Dropped the ball out of bounds, so that will have no effect. But Kramer wrapped up there by the linebacker Cecil Johnson, and Kramer a little shaken up on the play.
Yes, so Cecil came in and really put the clamps on him, and I think maybe Kramer's hand got caught underneath as he went down. He was shaking his hand, but he seems to be okay as he's running off the field.
Kramer came into this game still bothered with a sore thumb and a sore finger on his passing hand. Played last week with it, and has certainly thrown the ball well here today. So the Vikings will punt. The Bucs is stopping them. Greg Coleman. Danny Reese standing at the 11-yard line awaiting the punt. Coleman hits it from the 39. Reese at the 11-yard line gets out to the 20. A good return by Danny Reese, who does not fair catch him very often, and made a good move there before Fred McNeil stopped him at the 20-yard line. So Tampa Bay will start after that 40-yard punt by Coleman. First down, trailing by 11 with 6:11 remaining, third period. Tommy Kramer's numbers pretty impressive today, and he's apparently all right, but still favoring that passing hand. He won't make anybody's all-ugly team, John. And in fact, he is an eligible young bachelor, man about town, and that's caused him some comment from some of the fans and so on who see him in some of the discos and watering holes and whatnot. But Bud Grant says, I'm not too worried about that. He says, Kramer's not a fighter, he's a lover. So he's not worried about Tommy. He's always ready to play on Sunday. Slot formation right. Flared out, and it's taken by Eckwood. Eckwood gets about 7 yards on the play. And it'll bring up 2nd and 3. So the Buccaneers move it upfield, and we see that the Dolphins in front of the Jets, 3-0.
The 49ers. Now the Jets lead the Broncos 7-3.
Right, you are. I'm looking at 2 scores at once here. Miami leading San Francisco, and the Jets leading the Broncos. 2nd, and it's going to be closer to 4 here for the Bucks on 2nd down. Eckwood dancing and running well over the 30-yard line. Will be close to the 1st down. Tom Hannon, the safety number 45, made the contact, and where they spot it, he does have the 1st down for Tampa Bay. Dallas in front of St. Louis, 24-21. That's quite a battle they have there. St. Louis led it early, 14-0. Led it 21-17, and Danny White has passed to Drew Pearson in the 3rd period. 3:41 to play, 3rd period. Dallas in front. 1st down, Buccaneers. Play action, good fake by Williams. He wants Higgins deep. Higgins makes the catch of beauty, and he's down with a 1st down at the 21-yard line. A fine catch of the bomb thrown by Williams. Hannon and Turner on the tackle.
And you're going to see him run right by Hannon. Hannon is playing as the deep man as Williams on the rollout. And watch the top of your screen. He turns on the speed, and Hannon is caught, gets his feet caught, and it was a perfect pass right on the nose. Higgins makes the grab, and nobody really tackled him.
That's right. He just fell down. As a matter of fact, I didn't see a touch there by Turner. Theoretically, he could have got up and run.
I think he touched him, just barely touched him, when they ruled that as a tackle.
So it is 1st down at the 21-yard line for Tampa Bay, and this is some kind of offensive battle today. Johnny Davis, number 38, nowhere to go. Mullaney, the 1st man to hit him, and then he's wrapped up by Matt Blair, number 59. And so no gain will make it 2nd and 10 from the 21. A 48-yard gainer to Isaac Higgins. And that Williams is just so dangerous with the bomb every time.
I was going to say the same thing. Boy, he has been on target today, hasn't he, on those long passes?
Well, he's worked his way up into the top 10 in the NFC with efficiency, too, in the ratings. And he's passing at 48% on the season, but he's still making the big plays as well. Sideliner incomplete. Intended for Higgins. Nate Wright on the coverage. Higgins looking for some help from the officials, but there wasn't much question about that. Good coverage by Nate Wright.
He sent all 3 receivers down the field. They pick up the blitz, and the pass was just thrown a little bit too much to the outside. Good play there.
Nate Wright on the coverage. He's been burned a couple of times in this game for touchdowns by Kevin House, but he was right on the play there. Tampa Bay 5 of 8 in 3rd down conversions, and obviously with time winding down 3rd period, they trail by 11. This is a big one for them here. 3rd and 9. The crowd at Met Stadium exhorting the Vikings defense to stop them as they have the last 2 times. Williams is going to run it. Williams has the 1st down with a scramble inside the 10-yard line, and the big quarterback from Grambling, who's already rushed for 278 yards this year.
And if you take away the quarterback sneaks, he's averaging 8 yards per carry. Good blocking by the offensive line as Williams takes off. Bobby Bryant, number 20, makes the tackle. But I would say that the Tampa Bay offensive line has done a pretty good job on that defensive line of Minnesota. They had a 4-man rush with 1 linebacker, and all the rest were defensive backs. But overall, darn good pass blocking by that offensive line from Tampa Bay. And as you know, in the early years of the Buccaneers, they had problems with that offensive line.
Yes, they did. Tony Davis and Jerry Eckwood are the running backs. The pitch to Eckwood. Eckwood off tackle is hit by Studwell, who played it perfectly. And there is no gain on the play. Jerry Eckwood, quite a hit from the young middle linebacker from Illinois. Studwell has apparently taken that first-string job from Jeff Seaman over the course of this season. And they'll often get Seaman in there when they go to 4 linebackers. It's certainly a strength of the Vikings, their fine linebacking core, as the Buccaneers feel about theirs. 2nd and goal, just inside the 10-yard line. A slot formation. Hagan's in the slot. Gordon Jones wide right. In motion goes Eckwood. Williams, lots of time. Trying to hit the tight end. Jones, no, not the tight end, but the wide receiver. Gordon Jones cutting across the middle, and that was not a good pass from Williams. He could have had a touchdown if he had that one on the money.
His 2 receivers, wide receivers on the same side, did a crisscross, and he looked for him across the middle, and by the time they cleared, because they actually tangled with one another, the receivers, he had to throw it because he saw Mulaney coming, and it disturbed his throwing motion, and he was off target.
So it is another big 3rd down play for Doug Williams. He made the last one on his own. Let's see what he does here. Slot formation right again. House in the slot, 89. Jones, 84, wide right. Again, Eckwood in motion. Williams comes back to Tony Davis, and Davis is into the end zone. Touchdown. Tony Davis just wrestled Johnny Turner into the end zone, and twice now Davis has done that, but a flag is down, and it is against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Illegal procedure.
Good coverage downfield. Here comes Davis, 27 out there. He's the safety valve again, and Doug Williams spots him and rifles it there, and here comes Tony Davis. You can't bring him down. Once he gets a hold of that ball, he says, I want that
illegal motion, number 43, offense, still 3rd down.
Eckwood again charged with illegal motion, evidently turning it upfield again off his motion laterally, turning it up a little early, and so twice now that's hurt the Bucs. It is 3rd and 15.
There's no reason for that, because a man in motion should always wait an extra count just to make sure that he doesn't move forward too soon.
Our cameraman Gene Savitt gave you a real good look at the work of Tony Davis on Johnny Turner. To the corner, it is incomplete, intended for Gordon Jones, and it is 4th down. So with the help of Buccaneer mistake, the Vikings have pushed the Bucs into a 4th down circumstance, and onto the field comes Garo Yepremian.
I think Williams was complaining that Bobby Bryant might have hit Gordon Jones right before the ball got there. A very close call, but no penalty was called.
Yepremian will be attempting it from the 22-yard line, a 32-yard try for the Cypriot. And he has it. 32 yards away. Garo Yepremian hits the field goal. And that reduces the Viking margin. 1:31 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Minnesota 31. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23. With the NFL cheerleaders, part of that same show. So the Buccaneers kick it off. Yepremian, who has just kicked the 32-yard field goal, and he slices that one out of bounds at the 20-yard line. He'll have to do it again from 5 yards back. The kickoffs have not been distinguished here this afternoon by either Yepremian or Dan Meyer.
Did you know that Garo Yepremian is the NFL leader in career accuracy?
I do now. What would you care to elucidate, elaborate?
In field goals, he has kicked 201 going into this game out of 298 field goals, and that makes him the all-time NFL career leader in percentage.
I guess, as Coach McKay said, we wanted more consistency than we had from O'Donohue, but they know that he can't kick the long one, and twice today on 4th and 2 from the line of scrimmage out near the 35 in Minnesota territory, they opted to go for it. Both times the Vikings stopped him.
And John McKay says Garo Yepremian is the first normal kicker he's ever known. I don't know what he meant by that.
All right, this one he gets down the middle. Taken by Payton at the 14-yard line. And Payton gets it out to the 35, where Tony Davis and Aaron Brown put the stop on him. But there is a flag down, and we are getting more penalties as the game goes on, it seems. It is evidently against the Buccaneers.
Offsides.
Well, those are the mental errors that drive the coaches wild. I mean, you can be eager on a kickoff team, but you've also got to be onside.
Offside, number 46 on the kicking team. Free kick from the 25-yard line.
That It's eager Danny Reese, number 46.
I would say that Minnesota's going to come out with pretty good field position when they get the ball if they don't fumble it, because Yepremian doesn't kick all that deep anyway.
Well, he's now kicking it from the 25. Getting some practice. And there's Danny Reese, number 46, the excellent punt returner and handyman defensive back for the Bucks. 31-23. That field goal by Yepremian putting the Buccaneers into a situation where they can close up the margin to a point with a touchdown. But they've got to get the ball back. Shadows lengthening across the field here at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. It's been a beautiful afternoon for football. And you can see the shadows stretched out across this capacity house looking on and seeing quite an offensive display. Good kickoff by Yepremian. All the way down to the 11. Payton with a good return. Eddie Payton gets all the way to the 46-yard line before Rick Burns made the tackle, came up with the ball, but the play had been whistled dead.
That kick was pretty deep considering he kicked it from the 25, but Payton he followed his three blockers who threw the one key block there, got the first penetrating man down, and Rick Burns finally makes the tackle as Payton broke tackle after tackle and is finally brought down.
Yepremian in that picture looked like he was threatening to put a hit on him there, but he also backed off and let Burns make the stop. 41-yard return for Payton. First down, Vikings in Tampa territory. Whistles, flags, and everything stops here. Just as Kramer dropped back to pass on first down. Eddie Payton's had himself quite a day.
Number 73 offense.
Well, that is Ron Yary, the veteran right tackle. Getting started a little early, and thus the whistle. It'll be 1st and 15.
Speaking of Ron Yary, he is now healthy. He's had some ankle problems. In fact, the whole offensive line was banged up for a while, but now everybody's healthy, and they've got a lot of flexibility in that offensive line, and you can see by the way the offense has performed the last couple of games, they have really come around. Key series, this is a key drive for Tampa Bay to stop Minnesota. They didn't stop them the first time, and they've got to stop them now.
They've got Terry LeCount and 3 wide receivers, Rashad and White with him. Deep open is White to the 3-yard line. Sammy White. Tommy Kramer just loaded up and hit White on the fly. Curtis Jordan, number 25, stopped him at the 3-yard line. And again, these teams just continue to mow up and down the field.
Plenty of protection as he goes back. Look at that. Nobody gets close to him as he throws the ball. How did he get so open? He split the 2 deep men wide open down the middle of the field. Finally, Jordan and Brown come over to make the tackle, but not before Sammy White caught his 6th pass of the day.
50-yard gain.
Here it is again, a 3-man rush, and they're just not getting there. They're not getting there. Boy, is he open. Jordan's way outside. I don't know if they had him inside outside, or whether that was Jordan's man all the way, man for man, and Brown came back just to help out. Jordan's had a rough day, Tim.
The Vikings have an injury on the play to Jim Huff, who just recently came out of injured reserve. Back in at his left guard spot as a starter, the young man from Utah State, and he goes limping off. That will bring in probably Brent Boyd, number 62. Yes, it is. Boyd, the rookie from UCLA. So it is 1st and goal from just outside the 2-yard line. Ted Brown slashes close to the goal line. They're going to spot it about 1 foot away. Logan was there, number 76, and Kohler, number 77. Kramer is now 21 for 33, has crossed the 300-yard mark, 307 on the day in passing yardage. 2nd and goal inside the 1, and that brings the quarter to a close here at Metropolitan Stadium. At the end of the 3rd quarter, the score, the Minnesota Vikings 31, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23. We now pause for a word from your local station. This has not been your defensive struggle. The Vikings are threatening again. As you can see, that ball is about 1.5 feet from the goal line. They already lead at 31-23, and we are just beginning the 4th period. Two teams, one known for its defense in recent seasons. Last year, Tampa Bay most particularly. The Vikings the last few weeks getting it together. But today, nothing but offense. And there is another touchdown for Ted Brown to make it Ricky Young. Ricky Young, number 34, taking it behind the right tackle, Ron Yary, the grizzled veteran. And the Vikings have opened the lead to 37.
Just some big collision there in the right side of that line, and Young just kept driving. Those legs, see the legs just keep moving, and he does get the ball across the end zone for the touchdown.
Steve Dills will hold for Rick Danmeyer. And Danmeyer adds another one. And so, just into the fourth period, the Vikings 38, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23. I have a feeling we're going to see some more points scored. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris witnessing a scoring spectacle in Bloomington, Minnesota. And while the score is way up there after just 3 quarters, how about this? Minnesota with 23 first downs through 3 periods. Tampa Bay with 18. Most teams would be happy with 18 over the course of a full game. The kickoff is taken by Gary Davis. Davis runs into traffic at the 20-yard line. Dennis Johnson and Henry Johnson, the unrelated Johnson linebacking rookies on Minnesota, made the stop. Minnesota going 47 yards in 3 plays with the 1-yard touchdown by that man, number 34, Ricky Young, getting a little rest. And alongside the outstanding young running back from North Carolina State, Ted Brown. So it is first down for the Buccaneers. They send Higgins out wide left. Gordon Jones right. Williams on play action. Jones sideline, cannot hold on. Incomplete. Well, Jones thought he had to leap for the ball, and he just threw his timing off. The ball was right there. And it's another drop.
Nate Wright gave Jones plenty of room that time. Actually, if mechanics had been right, it would have been an easy reception for a first down. Nate Wright is playing off quite a bit. So far, they're still playing some man-to-man out there on the corners.
Third game in a row, the Vikings have been over 30 points. They have certainly got their offense going. Last week, they shut out Detroit. Today, they've given up 23 points to Tampa, and we've still got a long way to go. Under the rush, Williams gets it off. What a no for Radovich. That would have been some catch. He had one hand on it, took a hit from Studwell, and it looked like he was going to be able to hang on, but it would have been no gain anyway. Duck White with the pressure on Williams.
Yeah, James White, watch 72 as he gets through. Williams goes forward. White gets a hand on him, and Williams is on his way down and throws the ball. They almost had a reception out of it there, as Obradovich could not quite hang on, though.
I mentioned the Vikings getting over 30 points a game, 3 games in a row now. The numbers stand this way: 101 points for the Vikings, 37 for their opponents in the last 3 contests. Chicago leading Houston 3-0 in that game that is now in the second period. Williams steps up out of the rush. He's got Giles open. Giles to the 40-yard line at the 39 of Minnesota. And Jimmy Giles getting up a little slowly on the hit from Kurt Knopf. Landed on his arm, his right arm and shoulder.
And what a super play by Williams. Here comes the rush. He goes forward in the pocket. He could have taken off on the run. He spotted Giles and just arm flinged the ball right on the nose to Jimmy Giles. Kurt Knopf makes the tackle, but it was just a super play by Williams. Running forward like that, he stopped and just flipped the ball about 45 yards. Not bad.
Not bad. He is a strong, strong young quarterback. First down, Tampa Bay at the Minnesota 40. Gordon Jones goes wide right. Higgins in the slot. Make it to Kevin House, 89. Williams with time. He's got Tony Davis open out of the backfield, close to the first down. Good play on him by Hannon. And it'll bring up second and about a yard to go at the 31-yard line of Minnesota.
They have just forgotten all about the running game, both teams, haven't they? They just throw, throw, throw. There's Davis out of the backfield. Safety valve. Doug Williams hits him on the go. And then a collision between Hannon and Davis. But Tampa Bay comes out smelling like a rose. They got 9 yards out of it.
Giles went off favoring his right shoulder. Remember, reserve tight end Tony Samuels is out with a pinched nerve. That could be a problem for them. Doug Martin is in defensively on 2nd and 2. Williams going for it all for Higgins, incomplete. He threw it on a rope, but about 5 yards ahead of the intended receiver, Higgins. I like that play on 2nd and 2, though, when you're in there around the 30, the 25. Figure you're going to pick it up in 2 more downs. Again, they're not going to try a long field goal. They've ignored that twice, so that's a good call there. Roller and Martin in defensively now. Roller 76, Martin 79. Joining Mullaney and Duck White. 3rd and 2. Excellent he took. His forward progress should have him close to the first down yardage, and he paid a heavy price. Scott Studwell, I think, was the man who straightened him up. Eckwood looks like he's all right. He just wants to see where they're going to spot it. Got short.
And I think it was Keith Nord, number 49, who gets up in there. Watch, Nord comes in, and so does Blair, but they both, mostly Matt Blair who makes the hit, and Nord comes piling on afterwards.
Well, they did the job, but the Bucs say, let's have a measurement. And it is short by just a matter of a few inches. Meanwhile, the Jets lead Denver 10-3 in the 2nd period of their game. San Francisco trailing Miami now 10-7. The Dolphins in front, 14:02 to go in the first half. So it's 4th and a very little bit here at the 30-yard line.
Williams is very good on the quarterback sneak. They like to do this when it's very, very short yardage.
Long count. Johnny Morris called it, and Doug Williams got it. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will keep it going as John McKay sends in the next play. I haven't seen a game in some time, Johnny, where the teams have just taken the kickoff, marched up the field, and scored either by field goal or a touchdown. The other teams come right back the other way. And that's why we've got 38-23 here with still 12 minutes to play.
Especially in the Central Division. It's been a black and blue division. That's its reputation. A lot of defensive action, but not today.
And the difference has been that the Vikings have stopped the Bucs on 2 of those occasions, and they've got the lead as a result. Williams for Higgins, touchdown! And Isaac Higgins beating Nate Wright, and the safety man Nord getting there a little late, but the Buccaneers have just scored reasonably easily again.
And here's Williams. He could have run 20 yards, but he's on the run and just quickly throws the ball almost a little bit off balance and threw it right on the money. And Nate Wright was a step or 2 behind. A touchdown, Tampa Bay. And I'll tell you, some of the cornerbacks in this football game are going to be dreaming about wide receivers running by them all day.
Well, when the season began, Bryant was on the right corner, Turner on the left corner. Bryant got hurt and moved right over to the left side, and Turner to the right side. And while Bryant is ready to play again, that's the way they've left him. And Wright has had his problems today. Yepremian adds the point after. And with 11:56 still to go, it's 38-30 Minnesota. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, and the numbers are becoming more and more interesting in this game. Doug Williams has now passed for 349 yards, his 3rd 300-yard-plus game this year, and that is his career high. And there's still 11 minutes and 53 seconds to go. Eddie Payton for the Vikings has returned the ball well today. He is out to the 34-yard line. And the teams have had excellent field position on the kickoffs all afternoon. 38-30, the Vikings lead this scoring fest. Scott Brantley made the tackle on Payton. And as we look at that Tampa Bay bench, you have the feeling both teams know they can score. Whoever has the ball last ought to win the football game.
It's like one of those touch games at the park on Sunday.
Sure is. Plenty of fun. The fans are loving it, especially since the Vikings are still on top. 38-30. Payton is now picked up 176 yards in kickoff return yardage. 6 carries of flags, whistles, and that must mean illegal procedure. It's right there. Called against the Vikings. Wes Hamilton, number 61.
Did you mention how much total yardage by both teams? We must be getting 800-900 yards.
False start, number 61. Offense, still first down.
We'll get it from our ace statistician. And with 68 points up there, this is starting to sound like that college game of a couple of weeks ago. Portland State beat somebody 105 to whatever.
Yeah, 105 to nothing. Yeah. This one is at least a little bit more even.
That quarterback Lomax must be something over at Portland State. These quarterbacks today are doing it. This is Ricky Young, a rare running play. And Young picks up about 10 yards on the play, bringing up 2nd and 5.
And you should have seen the block by Sammy White, a wide receiver throwing a block on Cecil Johnson. How about that? Watch to the left of your screen. Number 85 will hit Cecil Johnson's 56 right there and really dumps him. And finally, Washington makes the tackle on Ricky Young, but let's give a couple of cheers for the wide receivers.
That's right. That ball, of course, fumbled but out of bounds off the running back, so it did not affect the play. And it is going to be 2nd and 6. Not 2nd and 1 there, folks. 2nd and 6. And in motion goes the tight end Tucker, rolling is Kramer, complete to Ted Brown. Brown is surrounded and pulled down. Kohler, number 77, the left defensive end, stopping him after a gain of a couple. It will bring up 3rd down and 3 to go at the 40-yard line of Minnesota.
That time they rolled up on Sammy White. They had Jordan come up the short, and they moved Cotney to the deep, so they might try and start doubling the wide receivers a little bit more because of the tremendous success that they've had on the long passes, both teams.
We've got a long football game here with all of this passing. You might expect. 10:15 to go, regulation time. Slot formation to the left. The give is to Ted Brown, and that's shut down, and they are short of the first down. It was Logan, the nose tackle, number 76, the second-year man from Pittsburgh, who had to take over from Randy Crowder earlier in the season. And the Bucs have stopped the Vikings, and that could be a very key circumstance because neither team has been able to force the punting situation very often today. But the missed point after, despite all of this high scoring, could still loom large. Coleman will punt. He's standing at his 26. Reese waiting for it at the 15 of Tampa Bay. Good kick. From the 15, Reese works his way out to the 24-yard line. A good return for Danny Reese, and he got a good block back there from Mark Cotney. Fred McNeil finally made the stop on him. 9:20 to go, regulation time. Minnesota by 8.
There you see the total yards passing. That's what, 665 or something like that. There's 843 yards of total offense by both teams so far.
First down, Tampa Bay in motion, Higgins. Play action. Williams for Jones, complete. Turning in front of Nate Wright, and he has a first down at the 42-yard line as Tampa Bay starts their march right back the other way. Now, in this football game, if they were to go the distance, as has been the custom for both teams, and they get the point after, they will have closed to within that 1 point, blocked point after early in the first half of this football game. With all the points up there, you wouldn't think it would come down to a 1-point game, and it still may.
Plus, they had the one that was called back, the Tony Davis touchdown, because of Eckwood just moving forward a little bit too soon. So,
well, there's another scoring battle going on. The Cowboys leading the Cardinals 31-21, fourth period. First down from the 42, the Buccaneers. Johnny Davis battling straight ahead. James White made the tackle. Alabama's Johnny Davis, been bothered with an injury in the early part of the season. Picks up 4 to make it 2nd and 6. No, the Vikes haven't scored 30 or more points in 3 consecutive games since 1965.
2nd and 7 for the Buccaneers in their 45.
They are now protecting a 8-point lead Slot formation right for the Bucs. Straight drop. They flare it out with the screen out there to Eckwood. Eckwood shakes a tackle, has the first down, and gets down to the 42-yard line of Minnesota. Offenses are having fun out here today.
Yes, just a little quick one out there in the flat, bringing the lineman out in front. And Tom Hannon gets his hands on his ankle, and he can't quite hold him, and Eckwood busts it loose for some additional yardage as Tampa Bay is rolling again.
Tony Davis comes in for Johnny Davis. Doug Martin is in defensively on the right defensive end for the Vikings, number 79, their number 1 pick from Washington. Play action, pressure from White. Williams, and it is incomplete. A fine defensive play by Hannon. Tom Hannon, playing with a couple of broken fingers. He may have landed on them. Made a fine play there with Higgins momentarily open. And you can see him favoring that left hand. He's got actually 2 injured hands.
And that's why he's wearing gloves. Bud Grant doesn't let his players wear gloves. As you see, Doug Williams, who's starting to roll out more and more as this game progresses. He throws the ball, and Hannon comes up and bats it away at the last second.
Doesn't like him to keep their hands warm with gloves on, but he's letting them have that extra protection. Hannon made a fine play there. Second down. 2nd and 10. Lots of time. Lofts it for Giles. Intercepted by Hannon. Tommy Hannon. First interception of the day. And that one hanging up a little bit. Hannon, who had just made a real good defensive play, steals one there. So the Vikings stop the Bucs. One of the rare occurrences today for either team. And with 7 minutes exactly to play, the Vikings with an 8-point lead. And that's after 77 passes being thrown today. 46 by Williams, 33 by Kramer, couple by Steve Dills when he was in briefly, and 1 by Charlie Hanna. All right, first down, Minnesota. That was a big, big play because time now a factor. They flared out to Ricky Young. A first down pass. You like that call. An 8-point lead following an intercept. Time now a factor, and they throw on first down. You got to love it. Mike Washington forced him out of bounds, but he has the first down out to the 37-yard line. So the Vikings are now in control, and the Buccaneers will have to make the big defensive play to get the ball back.
I'll say one thing, they went right to the air. They didn't go conservative with an 8-point lead and 7 minutes to go. He says, we've been successful with the pass, and let's keep it up.
Dallas still in front of St. Louis, 31-21, a high-scoring game there. Kansas City leading San Diego 7-6 in the second period. The Bears leading Houston 6-0 on a pair of field goals in the second period. Ricky Young is dropped for a loss by Logan, the nose tackle David Logan. It'll be second down and 12 from the 35 of Minnesota.
Now we see why they're passing. The running game is not going as Logan penetrates and just gets a hold of Ricky Young, and down he goes. Good play, David Logan.
Well, it was supposed to look like a pass. It was a draw play. The Bears. Well, that's a potential upset. Long way to go in that game yet, though. Houston Oilers 7-3. Cleveland losing today goes to 7-4. Pittsburgh has gone to 7-4. Kramer has the time to the tight end Sensor, and he has hit. Good defensive play right just at the original line of scrimmage by Danny Reese, the nickelback. Gain of maybe 4 yards on the play will bring up 3rd and 9. So just what we were talking about here, Johnny. The Buccaneers doing the job defensively. They've got to make one more big defensive play, because time has become the factor. 5:46 to go. They trail by 8, remember. So the touchdown will not be enough, even with the point after, to get them even. They must score twice. And there's that clock ticking away. 3rd and 9. Slot formation left. Sammy White in the slot. 3 wide receivers are in. Kramer under pressure. And he is dropped. Dave Stalls, number 65, an extra down lineman, in on the passing situation, and so the Buccaneers have stopped the Vikings. And Greg Coleman will be in to punt.
Here they come. Good coverage downfield because he can't find anybody. And actually, Kramer almost squeezed out of this. If Stalls hadn't hustled after the block from back in the backfield, he made the tackle to stop Kramer.
Coleman standing at his 25. Danny Reese at the 18 of Tampa Bay. Long count. Vikings want to use up as much time as possible. It is very much a factor now. Very long count. The punt a little short. Reese on the fly and slips and goes down at the 33-yard line. Terry LeCount, number 80, was there, and the Buccaneers still wind up with pretty good field position following the punt, but they've got to score quickly here. So we see Danny Reese leaving the field. 38-30. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris in a high-scoring battle here in Minnesota.
Neither team has gone to the blitz that much today. Let's see if the Vikings might try and surprise them with a couple of blitzes, or whether they just play it conservative back, give them the short stuff.
Martin continues at right defensive end. Oh, intercepted by Nate Wright. The intended receiver, Isaac Higgins, slipped and fell right at the 10-yard marker, and it gave Nate Wright a chance.
You'll see 81 coming into the picture here. He slipped down and he hit Nate Wright, I think maybe in the face mask. That ball came in a shot and just ricocheted off of him.
2nd and 10. Tampa Bay from their own 32. Eckwood and Tony Davis are the running backs. Remember, Ricky Bell has not played the second half. A knee injury late in the first half. Kevin House in motion, number 89. Williams for House, wide open, and does he have the first down? He'll be very near the marker, but I believe just short. A little careless there by the rookie catching that ball. He could have stayed in and fallen forward for the first down yardage. Instead, he's short by a yard. In comes Studwell and McNeil. Out goes Nord for the Vikings along with Bobby Bryant. Extra tight end comes in for Tampa Bay, Obradovich. 3rd and 1. At the 41-yard line of Tampa Bay. 4:33 remaining in regulation time. Pro set. Eckwood. Eckwood has the first down and running hard to the 50-yard line. Good blocking by Snell, the rookie, and Charlie Hanna, the right tackle and renowned passer. The ball is at the 50-yard line. And a first down, a key one.
Finally, it's Nate Wright who makes the tackle to stop him, but he squeezed through a small hole and got there and got the first down at midfield.
Hagan's wide right, Jordan's wide left. Or Gordon Jones, pardon me, is wide left. Williams complete to Tony Davis. A flag is down. Nord touches him down immediately after a gain of about 7, maybe 8. Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dick Jorgensen, the referee, marks it off. Looks like a holding count down to the 40-yard line.
Holding, number 73, offense, still first down.
Charlie Hanna against Mark Mullaney.
There's Hanna, number 73, up there towards the top of your screen, as he is being beat to the outside, and they ruled that he must have apparently grabbed.
First and 20 for the Buccaneers at their 40.
Although it's pretty hard to detect it, but the official is right there.
So it is 1st and 20. Big penalty situation there for Tampa under these circumstances. This is Eckwood in motion. Quick flip out. Good catch by Tony Davis. Twice now he has one-handed the bullets of Doug Williams to keep things moving. And he gets back about 8, maybe 9 yards. It'll bring up 3rd down and 11 from the 49-yard line. 2nd down, pardon me, 2nd and 11 from the Tampa Bay 49. Forced out of bounds by Turner and Wright.
Jerry Eckwood made sure he didn't go in motion upfield too soon that time. In fact, he was still going towards the sideline. The play was almost over.
2nd and 11. He can't be too cautious. Here goes Higgins. Higgins picked up by Turner. Williams coming back the other way, complete to Gordon Jones. Jones still going, and a loose ball hit from behind. And the Vikings have recovered Johnny Turner. It was Kurt Knopf who put the hit on him from behind. He did not see where he was. He dropped the ball, and Johnny Turner grabbed it for Minnesota.
Down and in for Gordon Jones. He was wide open, and then some real good running here. He busted one tackle, was on his way for some extra yardage here. Watch him break this one as he spins out, maintains his balance. Nate Wright puts the hit on. He can't quite tuck it away as Knopf came through, and there is Turner for the recovery for Minnesota. Vikings first down as Doug Williams, who has played an excellent game. Just can't believe that one. That's football.
Tough break for the Bucks there. An alert Johnny Turner. A good hit by Kurt Knopf. Good football by Minnesota. And now they have made two big defensive plays here that keep them in the driver's seat. 3:40 to go, an 8-point margin. First down at their own 30. Ted Brown slipping into the middle, picks up 3 on the play. Dewey Selman, number 58, and Richard Wood, number 54, on the tackle. Jim Huff with the lead block for him, getting him 2nd and 7. 17-3, the New York Jets leading the Denver Broncos. Been having their problems lately.
The Broncos were 5-5 going in. If they lose, they'll be 5-6 and in pretty bad shape in that AFC Western Division.
Richard Todd passed to Lamb Jones, the Texas rookie, for the Jets' most recent score. 2nd and 7 in motion. Comes the tight end, and Brown gets some good blocking and has a first down. Over the 45 to the 47-yard line. Cecil Johnson, number 56, made the tackle. Joe Sensor coming in motion from the far side made a real good block.
Yes, he did. Number 81. He threw the block on Lewis, and then Brown turned it up the field, and finally Cecil Johnson makes the tackle from behind. Good tackle by Johnson, but not before Brown was able to get the first down.
2:26, and now the Vikings have got things under control. First down at their own 46-yard line. A Viking victory will pull them into a tie with the Detroit Lions, who lost today to Baltimore.
Boy, he ended up with 4 yards out of that play.
Ted Brown scrambles for 4 to the 50-yard line. Leroy Selman, number 63, finally pulled him down. And we have the 2-minute warning here at Bloomington, Minnesota. Vikings 38, Tampa Bay 30. The ball 14 times for 71 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns. He's also caught a couple for another 29. Tommy Kramer has been brilliant. So has Doug Williams, his opposite number. But the Vikings are in the driver's seat now. Brown and Young in the I formation. Tucker in motion. Ricky Young trying to bring it outside right. Runs into Kohler and Curtis Jordan. Picks up about 2 yards, maybe 3. Let's call it 3rd and 4, pardon me, for the Minnesota Vikings. 1:55 remaining and a timeout on the field. Dewey Selman goes out. Scott Brantley, I believe, comes in. They're going with the extra defensive back, pardon me.
If Tampa Bay loses this game, the Buccaneers would be 4-6-1. Minnesota would be 6-5. Tampa Bay plays all Central Division opponents the rest of the season, which means they can still have an awful lot to do with how they finish up in the Central Division, because they've played all their out-of-conference games already. Let's take a look at their schedule the rest of the way. Green Bay, New Orleans at... see, this is the Vikings schedule. Green Bay, New Orleans, at Tampa Bay, Cleveland, and Houston. 2 tough games there towards the end. And then here's Tampa Bay's schedule. Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, at Detroit, and Chicago. So 4 out of the next 5 games would be at home for Tampa Bay. This, of course, was a big one. I'm not saying the game is over, but if they could have won this game or do rally to win this game, the Buccaneers would be in great shape in the division.
That's now a final. Dallas over the Cardinals 31-21. Tony Dorsett scoring the last Dallas touchdown. So the Cowboys go to 8-3. The Eagles won earlier, are now 10-1. atop the NFC East. That's our score here. 3rd down and 4. Tucker in motion. Ted Brown. A lot of traffic, and it'll be close to the 1st down, but I believe he is short. A lot of traffic out that left side of the defensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Richard Wood was there. Dewey Selman, Logan, and timeout is being called by the Buccaneers with 1:36 on the clock, and it'll be 4th and a yard for Minnesota.
They must have wasted 15 seconds there before they called that timeout, which that 15 seconds could be very important when you get right down to the end. I don't know why there was such a delay in getting the timeout. They've had some problems towards the end of football games. As you know, last week they had that controversial 1st down or no 1st down, and that really hurt them.
Yes, it did. Well, these circumstances are such here that they've got to score twice in 1:36. And so the Vikings are still very much in command, but anything can happen, especially the way this game has gone. Doug Williams can hit a big one in a hurry. Then it'll certainly make the last few seconds exciting. 1:36 to play. Danny Reese is down at the 10-yard line awaiting the punt. Greg Coleman gets into position. He'll stand at the 40-yard line. The Bucs have everybody else up in that line of scrimmage. They want the block badly. Norris Thomas dipsy-doodling around, and Coleman gets it off. High punt goes into the end zone. Touchback. 1st down from the 20. 1:28 remaining to play.
Well, Mr. Coleman's a little upset that it went into the end zone. He was trying to get it out of bounds on the 5 or 10, but it didn't work out that way. But Tampa Bay still has 80 yards to go, down 8 points as you look at next week's schedule.
Chicago, all here on CBS next week. Giles moves over to make the strong side left. Williams, complete. Eckwood out of the backfield, hit immediately by Nord, and still struggling there. Finally, the whistles calling it down. The forward progress at the 25-26-yard line, 2nd and 4. Time ticking away, 1:09.
The Buccaneers have 1 timeout left.
Williams, complete. Isaac Higgins. 1st down at the 41. 56 seconds left. And there's the final timeout called by the Buccaneers. So they need some miracle time now. 56 seconds on the clock. And this would appear to be an almost impossible situation for them. And then, of course, the Buccaneers hurt themselves, and the penalty to Eckwood, a touchdown call back. Interception on the last drive. Houston has gone in front of the Bears 7-6 in the 3rd period at Chicago. Doug Williams complete. Eckwood out of bounds, stops the clock. 49 seconds remaining. They're at the 49-yard line.
Williams pass complete to Eckwood.
I'll say one thing, they're not going to throw one over anybody's head now. There are so many Vikings downfield that it's almost an impossibility. The only way they could do something like that is just throw one of those alley-oop passes and hope that somebody bats it around. Otherwise, they're going to have to settle for these short passes, and they got to be over towards the sideline because they can't stop the clock again.
Well, they're going to have to measure. It's very close. Gotta like this Doug Williams. You can imagine what kind of a quarterback he's going to be. Coming in as a rookie, John McKay throwing him right in there. He's now in his 3rd season. He just gets better and better. Still learning, obviously, but the tools, the will, got all the skills and the confidence of his head coach, which is the real primary thing. 49 seconds to go. The ball at the 49-yard line. They have the 1st down, and that clock is the story. Slot formation right. screen for Eckwood. 3 blockers in front of him. Eckwood, burst of speed, goes out of bounds at the 34-yard line. 42 seconds remaining. You know what's going to happen. This is going to wind up a 1-point win for Minnesota. With all of those points on the board. Our thanks to these gentlemen. Our producer on site, William C. Barnes. Directed by John McDonough. Against great handicaps today. Associate producer Clarence Anderson. Field operations engineer. And the rest of our technical and production staff.
Now the Vikings are all dropping off. Maybe we can...
Up the middle, and it is incomplete. Johnny Turner, good tight coverage on Gordon Jones. And the ball a little bit low, but Williams had to throw it in there low. With Turner covering tightly. That stops the clock with 37 seconds remaining. Getting a little cooler here. You see Williams trying to keep his hands warm with that sun going down and the field completely in shadows. The temperature has dropped considerably. But it has been a perfect football afternoon here.
It certainly has. It's been a very long game, but an entertaining game.
Giles is in the slot left. Gordon Jones wide left. Kevin House in motion behind the ball. Williams just gets it away. There's all kinds of traffic at that goal line, and it's knocked down by the Vikings incomplete. There were 3 receivers and 7 defenders. The odds were heavily against them completing that. So here's how it will stand with a Minnesota victory today. Tied with Detroit. The Lions lost to Baltimore. Green Bay lost. So Tampa Bay and Green Bay would remain tied with the Bears, who are currently leading Houston. Or no, they've fallen behind, haven't they? 7-6. Yes, the Oilers now lead 7-6 in the 3rd period over the Bears.
Well, we'll be able to maybe show you the defensive backfield here, because I'll tell you, they're dropping way off, and they're going to go probably for another alley-oop pass.
Williams is 27 for 50. Screen to Eckwood. Johnny Turner puts the wrap on him. He struggles to get out of bounds. 21 seconds on the clock as he got out of bounds to stop him. 463 yards for Doug Williams in passing today. There have been a lot of 300-yard games lost by quarterbacks this year with all of the passing, the new rules, all of the talk about the high scores and more offense this season. Quarterbacks can have a great day and still lose, and that appears to be the situation here.
You know, they could have a game and a half separating every team in the division from first to last place in the Central Division, depending on what Chicago does. Unbelievable. I don't think a team 6-5, I think you have to have a winning record to get in the playoffs. I think that's the kind of rule I would have. If you're not over 500, you don't make the playoffs.
This is 4th down. I agree with you, Johnny. 4th down. He's got the first down to Tony Davis out of bounds with 16 seconds left. Keith Nord took him out, and they're now at the 19 of the Vikings.
We had how many passes has Williams attempted now? Oh, there it is.
51, I believe.
52 now.
52. Okay.
478 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they're going to lose the football game.
Well, it has been interesting, to say the least.
Doesn't say much for defense, does it?
No, it sure doesn't. And this is the team they're playing that shut out the Lions last week. 34-0. Wide open is Tony Davis out of the backfield, and he gets out of bounds with 10 seconds left. I believe that's record passing yardage against Minnesota. Is that correct? Yes, it is. That is a record amount of yards ever against the Minnesota Vikings via the pass.
And I would say that we haven't got the official stats, but they've got to be over 1,000 yards or darn close to 1,000 yards in total offense in this game.
We could still have ourselves a 1-point margin. 10 seconds to go. 2nd and 3. Buccaneers now at the 13-yard line of Minnesota. Williams flares it out incomplete. That'll stop it with 6 seconds remaining. Intended for Gary Davis, number 28. Well, you can create a real interesting scenario if you could write the finish of this game. I mean, if they get it in on the next pass and there's 2 seconds on the clock and they try the onside kick, They're trailing by a point.
Oh, boy. Give me a break, yes.
Highly unlikely, but third down. Williams. So much for the scenario. Intended for Schumann and intercepted by the veteran Bobby Bryant, number 20, and as another of the many extra defensive backs. Second interception of the day, and Bryant keeps it an 8-point margin. 1 second to go, and the Minnesota Vikings have pulled themselves into a tie with the Detroit Lions atop the Central Division of the NFC with a record of 6-5.
And how about this? The ball's on the 1-inch line. Who knows? They might, even if the quarterback falls down, he could get a safety.
Yeah, but that'll be the last play, though, so we can't. That would have been an interesting circumstance a little bit earlier, because that would be the 2 points they needed.
That's right.
So that a touchdown scored by Tampa Bay could give them a win. However, the Vikings have made the defensive plays when they've had to. They certainly haven't been sterling defensively today, but they have come up with the big ones on 4 occasions, stopping 2 drives on 4th and 2, making the interception and the fumble recovery, and then this interception by Bryant. Kramer chucks it out of bounds, and that'll do it. So the game is finally over here in Bloomington. It was a long one. 3 hours and 25 minutes. But the Minnesota Vikings have climbed into a tie behind the strong arm of that young man in a passing duel against Doug Williams of the Buccaneers. And they just reared back and chucked them today. Tommy Kramer and Doug Williams. And there is happy Bud Grant. His team has now won 3 in a row. The final score, the Vikings 38, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30. And the Central Division remains very, very tight in the National Football Conference. And so, for Johnny Morris, this is Tim Ryan saying so long from Bloomington. The NFL on CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports.